Namaskaram. It is such an honor to sit here and to receive Aditya Hrudayam before speaking about it, and with gratitude to the Tapovriddhas on either side of me who are leading the way and telling us, so many of us who are much older than them in age, that there is so much power in collective prayer. And in whatever ways in our own journey, if we can just enable that, 3 of us, 5 of us, instead of choosing down to sit and just have a catch up, if we can facilitate a small group where we sit and pray together, and I know that there are people in the audience who do that, the experience is unmatched. And to hear Aditya's namas coming in as we have been drenching in his Karunamritam since yesterday is really special, because yesterday we embarked on a very special journey trying to metaphorically go closer to the sun, because we cannot physically go closer to him. And as we did that, essentially, if we actually analyze the largest part of yesterday, I'm doing a recap in typical Indian TV serial fashion. But in essence, if we have to really see what we explored yesterday, there is one strand that connects all the different kathas. And that simple strand is, what did people receive upon doing a namaskaram to Aditya? That namaskaram Samba did when he was cursed, and Narada started to speak to him about the Swarupam and the Tattvam of Aditya. Narada described to him various instances when people did a namaskaram to that Aditya. And who was the first person who did that namaskaram? Brahmadeva did that namaskaram before the creation of Srishti, and from that Mahatejas, which was too much for the world to take. And this has to be understood carefully, because it is not about the Tejas destroying the earth. It is about the idea that Paramatma is infinite. Paramatma's grace, his karunyam, his kanti is also infinite. We only know a portion of it. Purusha Suktam also talks exactly about this, saying we only know 1/4 of Paramatma's karunyam. 3/4 is beyond our understanding also. Brahmadeva did a namaskaram, and then Srishti began. Someone else also did a namaskaram and wanted this Jyoti, this Paranjyoti, to be born to her. Who was that? That is Aditi. Aditi Devi did this namaskaram, and her namaskaram, if you observe, when these kathas are going on, they don't tell them in a linear fashion, and that is where translations often fall flat, because translations tend to filter out some of the beautiful portions that are there in the Moola Granthas. You will see when Aditi does a shlokam, in English it is very simple to say, Aditi did namaskaram to Surya. But Aditi's namaskaram to Surya is 1 chapter long. And in that, each stotram recognizes that she understands who Surya is, because she says something that is echoing across multiple shastras. Whenever any devata is worshipped, we see this kind of a thought coming in. You are responsible for Srishti. You are responsible for Sthiti. You are responsible for Laya. So you, who is capable of doing these 3 functions, please bless me. This is what Aditi says. The same bhavana you will see if you worship Ganapati. Sounding familiar? In the Atharva Shirsha, exactly this comes, where we talk about Ganapati being Sarvam Jagadidam Tvatto Jayate, Sarvam Jagadidam Tvattas Tishtati, Sarvam Jagadidam Tvai Layameshyati, Sarvam Jagadidam Tvai Pratyeti. You worship Devi, it is the same thing. Visrishtau Srishti Rupatvam Sthiti Rupa Cha Palane Tatha Samhriti Rupante Jagatosya Jaganmaye. Whichever God is being worshipped, the indication that is coming across multiple stotras on that devata is the same thing. This devata is not restricted to one department alone. This devata that I am worshipping is creating, is doing Srishti, Sthiti and Laya. I am worshipping them as the combination of that. When we do that, we expand our view of a devata. We stop restricting them to just departments that can quickly give us what we need to. Aditi did this stuti, and pleased with her tapas, Aditya was born to her, or Aditya manifested to her in how many forms? 12, Dwadash Adityas. We then spoke elaborately about the Katha of Aditya, that one Purusha who had 12 portions to him. We spoke about him and his Patnis, Sangnya, Chaya, and their children. Their children being Vaivasvata, Yama, Yami, Shani, Tapati, and Savarni. And later, again with Sangnya, he had two children, or rather a pair of twins and another child. The Ashwini Kumaras. Anybody remembers their name? Nyasta and Dasra. Diagnosis, treatment. The entire philosophy, the Siddhanta of healing is hidden in those names. After the Ashwini Kumara, the son Revanta, his son Revanta also. So this is the entire Surya Kutumbam that came forward. We explored their stories and then explored the fascinating aspect of how this Aditya, who is called as Jagadeka Chakshushe, he is the eye to this entire universe. The various texts that we have within our cultural ethos have done this very beautiful thing, which is not just a poetic idea. Essentially what they have done is, they have recognized that the universe is one big body. Just like how there is a human body at work, here for us, the universe itself is one big body. And in this universe, the eyes of that universal body are Surya. And we saw how within our own body, it is this eye that is the principal unit of timekeeping. From one Nimesha, we got Kala, we got Kashtha, we got Muhurta, we got Dina, we got Masa, we got Paksha, we got Ayana, we got Samvatsara. The entire thing we trace to what? One Nimesha. That is why the same Surya that rules this entire world and gives light is responsible for our eyesight. So this is called as, in Sanskritam, it's a very beautiful technical term called as Pindanda Brahmanda Samanvayam, connecting the individual body to the cosmic body and recognizing that it is the same force that is at work. From here, we also looked at other devatas who did namaskaram to Surya with this recognition that his light is not just about literal light, it is Jnanakanti, the light of knowledge. And two such beings did namaskarams to him and obtained phenomenal results. Who were they? One was Hanuman, who learnt Veda Vidya from him. We explored the concept of Suvachala being with Anjaneya Swami. And the other was Yajnavalka. Yajnavalka, a rishi who was blessed by Surya and obtained the Shukla Yajurveda. The mantras that are found in the Shukla Yajurveda and the Yajnavalka Smriti are all Surya Prasadam. So in essence, we saw some facets of Surya's character. That in addition to enabling Srishti, in addition to protecting, in addition to causing cosmic phenomenons like the moon to wax and to wane, and the entire concept of Yajna, we dwelt on this about how with each changing digit of the moon, with each changing tithi, there is a devata that goes and takes the Sudha Rasam from Chandra. Once this devata does this, eventually Chandra gets depleted and the process has to begin again. As the process begins, Yajna aids that process, where we offer something to Agni Devata. Agni Devata takes it through the Aditya Mandala and then gives it to that respective Devata. And the Havis that is offered for this is Ajya, Ajya being ghee. This entire concept is spoken about in Puranas and it is so beautiful. Wherever they mention about cattle and they mention about how the milk that comes from cattle has Chandra Tattvam, it has that Sudha Rasam inside it, a line will sooner or later a line will come saying these animals treated with care, they are then milked gently and their milk is converted to ghee. That treated with care is important and unfortunately in today's time we have forgotten that. So we believe that yes, Yajna is important, but we are not looking at the process of how well are our cattle being treated when these objects are being taken from them. The horrors of today's dairy industry need to be examined by everybody who is on the ritualistic practice to understand, are we aiding or enabling that in any way? And those sensitive choices are left to us. Purana is giving it as a symbol, saying that these cattle need to be taken care of. With that idea of Yajnam and respecting the concept of Yajnam, we then looked at one phenomenal being himself, who is Yajna Purusha. Ramanamam Yajna Rakshanam Lakshanam, said one Bhakta. That this being came to protect Yajnam only. Because if you look at him, he was born from the Yajnam that Dasharatha was performing. That was the Putra Kameshti Yajnam. Then after he was born, Vishwamitra said, I want to take this boy for Yajna Rakshanam, to protect my Yajna. So he followed Vishwamitra. And after that, Vishwamitra said, let us go to Mithila Nagaram, where there is a Yajnam happening. And when they went there, he married somebody. Who did he marry? And how was Sita found? When Janaka was plowing the land in order to perform a yajna. So there are so many yajna rahasyams hidden in this story. And eventually, he now comes to the battlefield, this Rama, and now finds himself tired. Tato yuddha parishrantam samare chintayasthitam. There is a little unease inside him. Can Rama feel uneasy? Question number 1. And when Rama feels uneasy, what should he do? Keep aside Rama. Keep aside Paramatma. Keep aside all these notions. In our life, when we feel uneasy, what do we do? That is why Ramayana is a story that is relevant across time. Because here, again, translations miss this. They quickly focus on all the action in the battlefield. But the action is internal more than it is external. Killing Ravana is a matter of minutes after this. But here is where he pauses. Because despondency takes over. A sense of helplessness, a sense of dejection. Isht madtidrunu kelsa agtilla. Things are not getting done no matter how much I'm working. Have we felt like that? So then what do we do? What do we do when we feel like that? We ask for help. Who do we ask for help from? Okay, Ganesha? Sorry? Surya, because Surya Katha is going on, correct. And this is where the dynamic becomes interesting, because one can lose hope. Here itself the story is branching into multiple angles. One is, when you are having that sense of dejection, what do? What did Arjuna do? When he was losing all sense of focus, he first turned his attention to the person in front of him. Who was that? Every time there is a situation, you have two options. Either you let go or you hold on firmer. And Arjuna chose to do that, and Rama also chose to do that. Is Arjuna the same as Rama? Not by any means. Rama is Narayana. But Rama is such a phenomenal acting, is doing such phenomenal acting, that he shows what human emotions can go through. And that is why he allows this emotion to look like it's ruling him. In truth, Rama has no such loss of any sentiment or loss of courage. But by pretending to do so, he is essentially showing this is human nature. Human nature will bring you to a point where you have worked for something and it's not happening. Then what do? You pray. But who do you pray to? That is the biggest question. Ganesha, because you don't want Vignas. Devi, because it is Shravan Shukravaram and Pakka, you'll get money if you do this. Every Siddhanta is right in its own way. So do you pray to Ganesha? Do you pray to Devi? Do you pray to Shiva? Do you pray to Vishnu? Do you pray to Muruga? Do you pray to Surya? Are these different devatas? This is the question that gets subtly hinted at over here when somebody comes for Rama's sake alone. Rama didn't call him. He still came. The rahasyams of Surya Katha begin here. If you do upasana of one tattvam constantly, whether you know it or you don't know it, that tattvam will follow you and protect you when you need it. Rama has been doing Surya Upasana for far before this. The hint of this comes much earlier in the Ramayana. It comes when Vishwamitra has taken the two boys out of Ayodhya, and the very first morning after they are away from the palace, Vishwamitra wakes them up. Till date, Rama wakes up with that only. With that same verse, Kausalya Supraja Rama Purva Sandhya Pravartate Uttishta Narashardulam Kartavyam Daiva Manhikam. The rahasyam of Surya Upasana is here. Wake up, because it is Prata Sandhya, Kausalya Supraja Rama. He refers to Rama's mother's name, saying, oh, one who is dear to Kausalya, Kausalya Supraja Rama, Purva Sandhya. It is Sandhya Kalam, rise before the sun comes. Why? Because you must use this kalam. There are two ways of looking at this. One, as we spoke about yesterday, is Sandhya Kalam is Ushak Kalam. It is at Usha Kalam that the rays that destroy Ajnanam and Papam and Rogam, those rays are strongest at this point. So Ushak Kalam is extremely important for Aradhana of any Devata. And the second thing is, Vishwamitra is giving it to him as a bijam, saying, rise now and begin the karyam for which you have come. Because he takes him out of Ayodhya and then takes him there. Vishwamitra hints about Aditya Upasana over there, just with 2 words, Purva Sandhya. Beginning of Ramayana, Balakanda, come to the Yuddha Kanda, the end of the epic, and Agastya explores the same thing in great detail. Talking about the idea that from then till now, Rama has constantly been connected to Surya Narayana. There are so many times, if you read the Ramayana, you will see when they are going across the forest, when it is Sandhya Kalam, Rama and Lakshmana will stop. Sita also stops because they use Sandhya Kalam for Upasana. Sandhya Kalam is meant for Upasana of any Devata. It is not, and this is something we have to understand before we go into the stotram, because the understanding for many is Sandhya Vandanam, or that is worship at Sandhya Kalam, is restricted to one community alone. That is a very, very narrow understanding of the concept. When the time is powerful, the time is not going to check somebody's Aadhaar card and say, oh, I'm only powerful for you, but I'm not powerful for the next door neighbor. It is powerful for anybody who chooses to utilize it. Electricity will work in any home where you switch the plug on. So how you use it is left to you. It makes no distinction. For one Varnam, there is a specific methodology in which they must worship. And they have to do that. But every being who is alive can use Sandhya Kalam to connect with their Ishtadevata. How do you connect with your Ishtadevata? The same way Yajnam happens. How does Yajnam happen? You send the Havis through which Mandalam? Aditya Mandalam to whichever Devata you want. At Sandhya Kalam, you send your Namaskaram through Aditya Mandalam to whichever Devata you want. If you look at the rising sun or the setting sun and you chant Devi's names, Surya will take those names and he will give it to Devi. You can do the same thing for Vishnu. You can do the same thing for Shiva. And if you decide I want to give it to Surya itself, he will also take it. Whatever Devata you choose, Sanatana Dharma stresses on this, saying all Devatas have their own worship methodologies, but for any Devata's worship to be complete, you must necessarily worship them through the Aditya Mandalam. This is what Agastya now starts to expand for him. This is exactly the idea of the Gayatri Mantram. If you read the Gayatri Mantram, which we will not do on a stage because it is not allowed to do so, the Mantram does not describe a goddess called Gayatri. The Mantram essentially says, this light that is nourishing the 3 worlds, may this light guide my intellect. Tat Savitur Varenyam. Dhiyo Yonav Prachodayat. May it guide me to make better decisions. May my buddhi be guided by this light. Then who is Gayatri? Gayatri is the Chandas, absolutely. It's a Vedic meter. Who is Savit? Who is Savita? So who is this Devata then? Because we're saying Gayatri Mantram, and those who are familiar with the concept of Sandhya Vandanam, you will see that before Gayatri Japam is done, Gayatri Dhyanam is done. But Gayatri Dhyanam, if you see any Devata Stotram, when the Dhyanam is done, we envision that form and then the Stotram is addressed to that Devata. Dhyanam is done of Gayatri Devi, Mukta Vidrume Hema Neela Dhavala. And then the Mantram is read, but the Mantram doesn't have a direct connection with Gayatri Devi. So who is this Gayatri Devi then? The Rahasyam of Surya Upasana is this. If you use Sandhya Kalams, the Trisandhya Kalams, to do Aradhana of your Ishtadevata, whatever you chant for them at that time will become your protecting force. Gayatri means that force which protects the chanter is called Gayatri. If you look at Aditya and you read Ramanamam, Rama will become your Gayatri. That means Rama will protect you. The way Shastras describe how this force works says that when Bhagavan Namam is on the lips of a seeker, especially at Sandhya Kalam, if they do it as a prolonged sadhana, the way that force works is it stands on either sides of their door, ensuring that no force comes onto them, no negative force comes onto them. This is an idea we have lost with the passage of time gradually. This is the idea that we have lost when pujas have been commercialized. Swadhyaya, what are you individually doing? When you look at the rising sun, are you feeling a sense of gratitude? Are you remembering your Ishtadevata over there? All of this context, if we can do, then we will understand that is Aditya Hrudayam. That is the heart of Aditya. Because if you look at Aditya Hrudayam, at a very surface level, I can tell you it's not an explanation of anything. It is 127 names of Surya that are put together here. But the interesting thing is, these 127 names of Surya can be attributed to any devata of your choice. And the interesting thing is, if you pick up any other devata stotram, you can see Surya hidden over there. You pick up Vishnu Sahasranamam. How many Aditya Namas are inside there? Can you name some? We would have chanted Vishnu Sahasranam if you told, but you told Aditya Hrudayam and came. What to do? Shastram is only insisting their same, not me. Swayambhu Shambhur Aditya. Think about it. Go back and read the same Sahasranam and say, am I seeing Surya Namas here? Devi Sahasranam, Lalita Sahasranam, Bhanu Mandala Madhyastha, Bhairavi Bhagamalini. Why Bhairavi? Connection is there. But for this, you have to sit with that and not be in a hurry to finish your Kumkum Puja and wait for dollars to fly into your house. The objective is to sit with it. That is why they called it Upasana. Upasana, sit with it for some time. When you sit with it, when you contemplate on it, that is when the magic starts to reveal itself. But look at this context. Very similar to Arjuna's. I'm not again comparing Rama and Arjuna, but I'm saying the context is on a battlefield. Does he have the time to sit and to contemplate on something? No. This is a moment of crisis. In our lives, the battle may be metaphorical. It may not be exactly what these people are going through, but such battles will come. What do you do in that moment? In that moment, it can be very difficult to say, with all your Indriya Nigrahana, with all your sense organs restrained, focus on Paramatma. It's very difficult. But the sadhana that you have done till that point will come to your aid. If you open your eyes, your literal and your metaphorical eyes, and you allow that grace to speak to you. You can rely on the sadhana that you have done, but you should have done that. When you are feeling okay, and I have seen this so many times and it's so beautiful that people get into such a state of happy worship. Worship is not, did I offer 1008 flowers or 10,008? Did I stay connected for a long time? That will come and protect you when you least expect it, but you most need it. And that comes for Rama now. Rama is eternally connected. Rama has no need to worship. Rama is Parabrahma. But he is eternally connected to that Parabrahma. And now he shows just as a nimitta, as an example, as a context, he says, if this happens to you, despite your sadhana being on point, you can trust that the divine will come. And that is exactly what happens. Devataishcha samagamya drashtum abhyagatoranam upagamya pravidramam agastyo Bhagavan Rishihi. Valmiki's genius. Agastya is coming. Agastya is a Rishi, no? But he said Agastyo Bhagavan Rishihi. Why? Valmiki is telling us that this is a stotram. This piece of magic that is coming out now is a stotram. Every stotram, if you go back, again we will use Vishnu Sahasranamam as an anchor, it has a certain devata that it is addressed to. It has a certain rishi that received it. And if you see, Asya Shri Vishnu Divya Sahasranama Stotra Mahamantrasya Shri Vedavyaso Bhagavan Rishihi. There it is declared as a statement. Valmiki with his poetry puts it in as Agastyo Bhagavan Rishihi. If you read it fast, you'll skip it. But if you focus on it, you'll realize, oh, he's giving a Maha Stotram. He's saying for this Stotram, it is Agastyo Bhagavan Rishihi. And Agastya comes and he says, Rama, I am not going to tell you anything new. Rama Rama Mahabaho Shunuguhyam Sanatanam. It's eternal. I'm not going to quickly find you a new way to come out of your troubles. I'm going to tell you something that is eternal. Shunuguhyam Sanatanam Yena Sarvan Harinvatsa Samare Vijayishyasi. Listen to this Aditya Hrudayam Punyam Sarva Shatru Vinashadam. This part is fun. Oh, I also have enemies. I'll read it. The biggest ones are here. The dejection is the enemy. The sense of losing hope, that is the enemy because that will cause actual parajayam. Aditya Hrudayam Punyam Sarvashatru Vinashanam Jayavaham Japen Nityam. He gave that underlined thing. Jayavaham Japen Nityam. Think about it. Sit with it. Akshayam Paramam Shivam. So this Agastya has probably done more for us than for Rama because he gave the Palashruti in the beginning, so we become that much more attentive. Otherwise, if you also observe, most people when they read Sahasranamams, they'll be sitting half like this, hunchback when they read it. But when the Palashruti comes, saying, if you read this on Ekadashi, this is the Phalam. Oh, the joy that people feel. Agastya probably recognized that in Kalikalam we will be like this. So let's put the Phalashruti, half of it in the beginning, half we'll put later. That is why he said, Akshayam Paramam Shivam Sarvamangala Mangalyam Sarva Papa Pranashanam Chinta Shoka Prashamanam. This can remove your mental difficulties. This is one phenomenal aspect of Aditya Aradhana. If you look at examples, even from yesterday's examples and some others which we will take now, every single person who did a namaskaram to Aditya when they were feeling uneasy, Aditya blessed them. In the Ramayana also there are examples. Sitamma is Mahalakshmi, there is no doubt about it. But she also led the example the exact same way. The example goes again from Yuddhakanda itself. In this moment what happens is, Ravana realizes that Rama is extremely strong. So he says, there's no way I can kill this fellow. What I can do is, I have to stop the war. I don't want Rama to win. So what should I do? Rama is fighting this war for whose sake? Sita's sake. Okay, everybody is familiar with that. Good. Rama is fighting the war for Sita's sake. If Sita kills herself, Rama will stop fighting. Rama will kill himself. So what can I do? Dushta Buddhi. Instead of focusing on at least some more strength training in the gym, he's doing this. What can I do so that I can... Sita will kill herself so that Rama kills himself so that I win the war. And his solution for this is create a Maya Shiras, a head that is created through negative magic and of Rama and Lakshmana, and throw it in front of Sita. This will make her think Rama is dead. If she thinks Rama is dead, she will die. Knowing that she is dead, Rama will actually die. He has laid out this master plan and he does exactly as he planned. So he goes and throws these heads in front of Sita, and the sight of your most beloved person, the sight of their decapitated head lying there in front of you is extremely unsettling for anybody, whatever their level of maturity and emotional processing is. And Sita sees that and she's repelled. She immediately breaks down. Ravana goes, because now he says, let the remaining magic happen. But truly magic happened because Trijata came to her and said, that is a Maya Shiras. Rama is alive. Do not trust it. You look at it and in a second the heads are gone. But the Drishyam, if you see a horror movie, that Drishyam remains because it captivates the sense organs in a very negative way. It does Grahanam, remember this word. It does Grahanam of the sense organs. It holds them. So this is exactly what happens to Sita. The Drishyam is gone. She knows, knowing and feeling are different things. She knows it's Maya, but she's feeling uncomfortable. At that point, she looks at Surya and does a namaskaram. When she does a namaskaram to Surya, she has manashanti. Moral of the story? Feeling uneasy, wherever it is, wherever you are, whatever it is that you're going through, one namaskaram to Surya. In that same context, before we begin Aditya Hrudayam, can I share one story from the Mahabharata with a similar example? Because this is a reminder of what a namaskaram can do. We have essentially been doing Surya Namaskaram since yesterday. Surya Namaskaram is not 12 quick poses to lose weight. Surya Namaskaram is not sun salutations. Namaskaram is Namrita Bhavam. Na mama. It's not me, it's you. That absolute ahankara tyagam is Namaskaram. You and I are connected. That much is hidden in Namaskaram. I'm setting the context for Namaskaram, which will come in Aditya Hrudayam shortly. This Namaskaram to him alone, whether you do it in an elaborate Vidhanam that Shastram is prescribing, or you simply bow down to your Ishtadevata, or you look at Surya. You look at your Ishtadevata in Surya, or you look at Surya as your Ishtadevata, and you just do one Namaskaram. He will remember that Namaskaram. Mahabharata quotes this very beautifully, where this story comes to us when the Pandavas are in Ajñatavasam. They are in incognito. So they are in disguise this entire year. That is the condition for them. That the last year of their Vanavasam, they must necessarily be in disguise. When they are like this in disguise, Draupadi works as the Sairantri. She works as the handsmaid to the queen, Sulochana. So when she is working with Sulochana like this, Sulochana in the kingdom where they are, Sulochana has a brother by named Kichaka. Kichaka is a pervert and he is also a tyrant. So despite her brother being like this, Sulochana's husband is unable to get him out of the kingdom because this man has so much of brute force. So this perverse Kichaka's eyes fall on this handsmaid. Only we know it's Draupadi, but everyone else refers to her as a Sairandri. So he tells his sister, send her to me tonight. So the queen tries to talk to Draupadi and she says, you should go. Draupadi says, I will not step in. I know exactly what his intentions are. No chance I'm going to go. But Draupadi has to remember, she's not the queen that she is elsewhere. She has to manage the situation very delicately. So she tries to protest, but it doesn't work. The queen says, you have to go. I don't know. And she sends her to Kichaka's chamber. Interesting thing is this. This happens towards evening. There are different versions. In the Moola Grantham it's different, in other versions it's different, but essentially she goes at night. When she's going between the queen's chamber and Kichaka's chamber, there's an open corridor, a courtyard, which is open to sky. At night, she looks up. I'm highlighting this detail. At night, she looks up and she says, Aditya, save me. And she goes. Not very sensible, no? Night, she could have chosen somebody else. Where is Aditya there? We'll read Aditya Hrudayam. You'll only find out. Aditya Hrudayam recognizes that Surya is a force that is not only present at daytime. Surya is present visibly at daytime, invisibly at night time, dissolved into all the energy around us. It's never absent. It's just on another part of the world. But that namaskaram does not go unnoticed. She just does a namaskaram and goes, and she's wondering what to do. She has sent, meanwhile, a word to Bhima. Bhima is the cook in the same kingdom. She has sent him a word saying, I'm going to Kichaka's kingdom, to his quarters. I predict that there's going to be trouble, so you must come. But before that, she did one thing, one namaskaram to Surya. And she goes. When she goes there, Kichaka, she goes with a tray full of things that the queen said, you must give him all of this. When she goes there, she just wants to go put the tray over there. And she opens the door. Kichaka sees her. She goes to place these things on the table. And as soon as Kichaka sees her, his lust gets the better of him. And he pulls her. In that moment, Draupadi doesn't know what happens to her. She lifts her hand and she slaps Kichaka. When she slaps Kichaka, the slap is so hard that Kichaka falls. Kichaka is supposed to be as strong as Bhima. So it's not easy to push such a man to the ground. And he falls back. In that same moment, Bhima comes and the rest is history. Bhima kills Kichaka that night. But the rahasyam is here. What was there in Draupadi's hand slap that she was able to do this? This came because of that one namaskaram to Surya. When she did that namaskaram to Surya, Surya sent one of his Rakshasa Ganas. We will see a little later today how Surya has different categories and different groups of devatas, different shaktis next to him. Amongst them, when you do a namaskaram, based on your need, he will send one Gana for you. One Gana means one Kirana, one ray. That ray may or may not be visible to you. That ray came and entered Draupadi's hand, and that ray is what actually slapped him, because even Draupadi was surprised saying, how did I manage to hit him like that? But that is the power and that is the Raksha Shakti of Aditya. That is why if you're uneasy, if you're unsafe, Yena mapat sukrucheshu kantareshu bhayeshu cha. You're feeling uneasy, Aditya. That is what he gave. It is not about the external situations. Internally, are you feeling uneasy? When everything around you is in doldrums, this is what you can do. Namaskaram. Bow down to him with one namaskaram. You don't know anything? Listen to the Aditya Hrudayam. There are phenomenal versions of it. And on that same note, I'm going to invite you saying today onwards, consider it as Aditya Vasara, as Bhanu Vasara, as a Diksha Dinam, and pick up this very Aditya Hrudayam for 48 days. Do a namaskaram to him continuously for 48 days. Something will change for you. Whatever is needed to change for you will change for you. That is the power of consistency in sadhana. So here, with all this backdrop, now begins this beautiful verse. But the biggest question is, which devata is it addressed to? Is it addressed to Surya? Yes, Vinay, why else are we here? But the magic is, if you see these verses, which we will start to see, every single verse can speak to you about a different devata. But look at the formation of Aditya Hrudayam. So now we begin with the stotram. The stotram begins with the words Rashmi Mantam Samudyantam Devasura Namaskritam. Rashmi Mantam. Rashmi means Kiranas. Rashmi Mantam means the one who is resplendent with Kiranas. So the first two lines are actually referring to the Surya Kiranas. Again, They are all on the perception of the human eye. How is the human eye seeing Surya? Before we see Surya, we see light. We see the Kiranas before we see him. Rashmi Mantam Samudyantam. They are rising. Devasura Namaskritam. Such a recognition of this universe. There is Devas and there are Asuras. Both of them are doing Namaskaram to Surya. Why? Yesterday we spoke about a tussle between Devatas and Asuras and how we are quick to classify this as the gods and the demons. And then we have a very poor understanding of what's happening. Where do the Devatas live? Swarga Lokas. Urdhvadi Lokas. Basically Swargadi. They live in Swarga and other realms. Where do the Rakshasas live? Where is Patala? Below the earth and Devatas above the earth. What is the tussle between them? The tussle is because the Rakshasas want to keep all the sampada, all the wealth that comes onto earth comes actually from below the earth. Whether you look at it in terms of plants, germination, whether you look at it in terms of gemstones, all of this is hidden below the surface of the earth. The Rakshasas want to keep it here. They want to keep Lakshmi there. Patala Lakshmi, Naga Lakshmi, Bhoga Lakshmi, they want to keep her there. The Devatas want to release her for the good of the world. So the tussle between them is what brings about nature. So what does Indra do? What does Surya do? Surya shines brightly and evaporates all the water bodies. Then Indra makes clouds out of these and sends them as downpour. The downpour will fall on the earth and cause crops to germinate. So they pull out that sampada. That sampada is what we consume and we are healthy and safe because of this. So the tussle between Devatas and Asuras is again another cosmic phenomenon that is happening at a larger level, saying this is always on. Some things must remain there for some time before they germinate. That is when that Rakshasa Shakti is working. And some things, when they are ready to germinate, must come out of the earth. That is Devata Shakti that is working. So this is constantly happening. Both of them belong to the same Paramatma. Veda is not denying that at all. That is why Deva Asura Namaskritam. For us, Asura means we'll only make one Asura face when we see that word. But Asura, in this context, is recognizing that there are equal and opposite forces in this universe and all of them are depending on the same source of light. Deva Asura Namaskritam. Then, Pujayasva Vivasvantam Bhaskaram Bhuvaneshwaram. Now we'll stop here. Bhaskaram Bhuvaneshwaram, the Lord of this universe. When do we see Surya for the first time in the day? Morning, sunrise. So technically he is the first Devata that we see. Then he should be the first Devata that we do puja to, no? But who is the first Devata that we do puja to? You make up your mind. Surya is the first Devata that we see, we should be doing puja to him. But Ganapati is the first Devata that we should do puja to. Are they different? What color is the rising sun? Orange, red. Before, just as soon as the sun is rising, which is not recommended to be seen, that is entirely red. Arunam. That it is a bright, stark red. That red, Raktam Lambodaram Shurpakarnakam Raktavasasam Raktagandhanuliptangam Raktapushpai Supujitam. All of this, Ganapati's color is red. In the day, from the second Surya rises, every Devata has one Muhurta Kalam, when if you do that Devata's Aradhana, that Devata's power can easily be harnessed. The first Muhurta Kalam, 48 minutes from sunrise onwards, is assigned to Ganapati. So in the first 48 minutes of the day, when Surya is rising, it is Ganapati. If you do Ganapati Aradhana at that time, it is extremely powerful for him. The red color is also symbolic. So when you say Adi Pujya, Aditya, Adi Pujya, it's the same thing. When you see that rising sun, can you remember Ganapati? That is where Ganapati Tattvam comes in. Those Kiranas of the rising sun are nothing but Ganapati's massive ears. The Swarupam of Surya will change if we learn to adjust our vision. So Ganapati Tattvam comes out very, very beautifully here with respect to him. These are all Sanketavadas. Puranas will just leave them as an idea. Ganapati and Surya both have a connection to the same kinds of red flowers. Mandara Pushpa over there, Mandara Pushpa has been renamed, or we believe it to be hibiscus. But even if you look from that perspective of hibiscus, it makes perfect sense. Because hibiscus is red. That red applies to both of them, the color of the rising sun and Ganapati. So this Surya could be Ganapati. If it is Ganapati, is it not other Devatas? All these confusions can be running for us, which is why Agastya made it very clear. Sarvadevatmako hyeshaha. Hyeshaha is a very beautiful word that comes in several Veda mantras, which is being used now in a itihasa. Hyeshaha means him. The ability to point at one form and say him. Hyeshaha. For that, he should be in front of you, number one. Number two, you should know who you're talking about when you're pointing at him and saying, yes, him. Sarvadevatmako hyeshaha tejasvi rashmi bhavanaha. He who is filled with these kiranas is glowing, tejasvi, and he is the essence of any devata. Now, when you look from this, line by line, we'll start speaking to you about a different devata in this very Aditya Hrudayam. Because here, the idea of how do we connect Aditya to our Ishta Devata starts to open up. So, for example, as the stotra moves on, like I said, in the interest of time, and to be very honest, if we had to take every namam from Bhaskaram, Bhuvaneshwaram, Sarvadevatmako Hyeshaha, Tejasvi, Rashmi Bhavanaha, if we had to take each namam of Aditya Hrudayam, it would be a course and not a talk. Because it deserves that kind of time to unpack the tattvam behind each name. And then see, this is the consolidated image that the Rishi is giving us behind this name. But because we have a time constraint, I want to introduce us to the format of the stotram to see how the Rishi has not arbitrarily put together 127 names. It's not what he has felt like. There is a system in place, and that system is working in great precision, just like Surya himself. So you will see this very beautifully when you see, after he declares, he is representing all the devatas. So no confusion. Is he Ganapati? Is he this? We will clear up that confusion in any case in some time, but we've already introduced Surya as Ganapati. Now, when you look from this bhavana, Sarvadevatmako hyeshaha tejasvi rashmi bhavanaha yesha deva suraganan lokanpati gabhastibihi. Then comes a beautiful format which you don't see in too many stotras. The entire department of gods is listed out here. Yesha Brahmacha. Shall we count? Yesha Brahmacha, Vishnuscha, Shivaha, Skandaha, Prajapatihi, Mahendro, Dhanadaha, Kalaha, Yamaha, Somaha, Apampatihi, Pitaraha, Vasavaha, Sadhyaha, Hyashvinaha, Marutaha, Manuhu, Vayuhu, Vahni, Prajapranaha, and then Ritukarta, Prabhakaraha are saying Ritukarta, the one who causes seasons. So we pause at Vayu, Vahni, Prajapranaha. How many did you get? I thought Vinay was counting. That's why I asked you to keep a stotram with you. How many are there? 21. Whose number is 21? Ekavimshati patrani pujayami. Ganapati. These 21 forms are the 21 different namaskarams that we offer to Ganapati when we offer him during Vinayak Chaturthi. One thing connects to another. But now see this format. Yesha Brahmacha Vishnuscha Shivaha. Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. Trimurtis are there in this Surya. Because when Rishis saw Surya, they saw the ability of these kiranas to bring life. One. They saw how these kiranas sustained life. Try to grow a plant without sunlight. Keep it in a place where there is just some ambient light and no direct light. You will see how miserable that plant will be. Sthiti. For sthiti you need Surya Kiranas. And eventually when that plant's time is up, the same sunlight will make the plant wither and dry up. Samhara. Srishti, Sthiti, Samhara. All happening because of Surya Kiranas. So we see this Surya as Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. Is that it? Esha Brahma cha Vishnu cha Shivaha Skandaha. This is a very interesting devata. Look at the format. First come Trimurtis at the top. Skanda is whose son? Shiva's son. So he takes a reference now to somebody's child. From the Trinities, the next, not in stature. Skandaha. Skanda and Subramanya and Surya have something very, very strongly in common. What is Subramanya's Vahana? What is special about the peacock's feather? All the 7 colors are visible. All the 7 colors are visible to us because of the sun's light. because the sun is falling on something and giving us an entire spectrum that we know today as the Vibgyor spectrum, from violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange. Your entire Vibgyor spectrum is contained in the peacock feather. The peacock is a representation of the entire universe of light. And the one who rides that, who makes that universe visible to us, is called Skanda or is called Surya. So that's why he first talks about saying Trimurtis are based on your rays. These Trimurtis, the functions of Trimurtis are happening through your rays alone, and this whole world of light is visible to us, and then you become Skanda. Further, Subramanya Swami's nakshatram is Kritika nakshatram. Surya's nakshatram is also Kritika nakshatram. Same tattvam, Agni tattvam. They both are Agni tattvam. If you see the story of how Kumara manifests, it is Shiva's Tejas which goes to Agni. Shiva's Retas, that is a golden Retas. Retas means seed. That seed is passed on to Agni, Agni passes it on to Vayu, Vayu puts it into Ganga, and so on and so forth. That Retas is golden. Hiranya Retas. Hiranya Retas is Surya. It is about the glowing tattva. So Skanda comes here. There is more, but it will come in time. Skandaha Prajapatihi, the one who rules over prajas, who takes care of them. Because Skanda, what is Skanda created for? Skanda is created because he has to essentially fight a war with Tarakasura. To fight this war, Skanda must bring all the devas together. He must become their Senapati, Deva Senapati. That Deva Sena is all the Kiranas that you see. Essentially, when our rishis worshipped Surya, they did not see Surya as a different god and all of these as different gods. They said, there is one source of light in this universe, one source of jnanam, one source of everything. From this source, every kirana is coming and working differently. Each kirana we called one devata. That is essentially it. So there is no need to break heads over it saying, which god is he talking about here? One kirana falls on the earth and causes evaporation, condensation cycles, causes clouds to form. That kirana is responsible for rain. We call that devata as Indra. One kirana is leading all of this and ensuring that in the sky it is uniformly spreading that light. That force is called Skanda, which is causing all of this uniform light to be distributed, because any army needs a leader, needs a commander-in-chief. That commander-in-chief here is Skanda. That's why Skanda is followed by Prajapati. Yesha Brahma cha Vishnushcha Shiva Skanda Prajapati. Now starts the beautiful formation. Mahendro. Mahendra means Maha Indra. Indra from TV serials and from comic books, who is forever insecure, is not the Indra I'm talking about here. Indra is a padam. It is a padavi. It is a term. It is an office. Just as we say Prime Minister, Indra Padavi is one kind of Indra. Second, in Vedic terminology, Indra is always referred to as Parabrahma. Agnishchama, Indrashchame, Somashchame, Indrashchame, Savitachame, Indrashchame. All of this, may all these things come to me through Indra. Indra is Parabrahma Vachaka Shabda. It refers to Parabrahma. So here it says Mahendra. The first name that is given is Mahendra. Mahendra, as I said, is exactly the kirana that falls from Surya and causes the evaporation and condensation cycle and ensures that rain falls on the earth. Now you see why Indra has a Vajrayudha, the thunderbolt, because that thunderbolt is sending thunder and lightning and life-sustaining forces down for us. So the next time you're quick to laugh and pass a joke on Indra, remember that if he doesn't send the rain cycle, BWSSB will not be able to help you. That Indra is responsible for this force. That Indra is named first. Let's just remember this order. Mahendra. After Mahendraha, Dhanadaha. Dhanada, the one who is in charge of the treasury. Kubera. Next comes Kala is Yama. And after this, Mahendro Dhanadakkalo Yamas Somo Hyapampatihi. Apampatihi. Mahendraha, Dhanadaha, Kala and Yama, they have said it together. Mahendro Dhanadakkalo Yamas Somo Apampatihi. Somaha and Apampatihi. Apampatihi is the lord of water, Varuna. Anything interesting about any connection between these four names? Indra, Kubera, Yama and Varuna. The directions, the four deities ruling over the four directions. All these are coming into being because of Surya. Literally. When we know what is east, only then do we know what is west, what is south, and what is north. There is a beautiful process and a beautiful concept called as Dikpalaka Devatas, the rulers of different directions. If you do a namaskaram to them every morning, whichever direction you go in, you will attain victory. Because they are ruled by certain forces. The east, it's a good opportunity to understand this a little bit in detail. The east is ruled by Indra. But Surya rises in the east, so why did we give it to Indra? Because they are the same. That is why Indra rules the east. What's the next direction? We're going clockwise. Nothing between east and south? What is southeast called in Sanskritam? Agneya. The intermediary directions will tell you the name of the direction, will tell you the name of the Devata that rules that. So Agneya will be ruled by Agni. East, southeast, Dakshinam. Dakshina is ruled by Yama. Yama rules this direction. What's next? Hey, only this side is answering. Southwest, also known as Nairiti. Nairitya, ruled by a Rakshasa called Niruruti. Absolutely. The railways that we have here is also the Southwestern Railways. So you will see that it says this on the board as well when you see it in any of the Indian languages. Then comes Paschima Disha, which is west. The west is ruled by, I don't know, Vinay, I thought you'll tell us. Varuna. All the western direction. That is why in Sandhya Vandanam, in the evening, one does a Varuna Prarthana. Because one turns towards the west and does this. So this is Varuna. Then comes northwest, called as Vayavya. Vayavya ruled by Vayu. Then comes north. North is ruled by Kubera. One version says Kubera. And finally comes Ishanya, ruled by Ishana, which is a form of Shiva. So these are the Ashtadikpalakas. There are two more, Urdhva Loka and Adhaloka. Urdhva is ruled by, remember that story of Shiva becoming a massive Jyotirlingam and Brahma going on top, Vishnu going below? Brahma went on top because Brahma is the ruler of the Urdhva Lokas, Vishnu of the nether regions. These are the 10 Dikpalaka Devatas. All of them are coming into being based on what? Based on one single anchor. When Surya is there, alone you know which is east, which is west. Without Surya, you cannot tell these things. So beautifully he said, Mahendro, Dhanadaha, Kalaha, Yamaha, Somaha, Apampatihi. He has essentially framed the world for you. The intermediate directions are coming as a result of these two. But he has essentially given you the simple grid that you need to identify that all these are forms of Surya. This is Surya Shakti which is hidden in the water and makes us call him as Varuna. This is Surya Shakti which is hidden in the clouds. We call him as Mahendra. This is Surya Shakti which is keeping our time here. So we call him as Kala or Yama. This is Surya Shakti which is blessing us with wealth in the form of crops, in the form of food, in the form of anything that we need. So we call him as Dhanadaha. Is it any different from Surya? It's all Surya's Vachas only. So this formation is laid out. Mahendro Dhanadakkalo Yamassomo Yapampatihi Pitaro Vasavas Sadhyaha. This is where something beautiful, additionally from yesterday, because we set the context yesterday, it becomes that much easier to explore it. Yesterday we said that when we offer something into the Agni Devata takes it through Surya Mandalam and he offers it to whichever Devata. But this is amongst Devatas. Devata we can easily refer to as a group. But there is a beautiful concept of Vyavasthas, different departments within Devatas. One amongst them is the Vyavastha of Pitru Devatas. Vyavastha means department. The department of Pitru Devatas is not our ancestors alone. It's not our grandparents, their parents alone. They are taken care of by the Pitru Devatas. So what is the idea here? When we do a namaskaram to the Pitru Devatas receive our namaskaram. And when we offer the Pitru Devata something, which we do through a Shraddham, what do? They take the essence of that annam that is offered in the pindam or whatever format it is. They take the essence of that and they know where our ancestors are. So they pass on that food to them in whatever form they are. today, if we are sitting and we are able to eat this morning's breakfast, which we all had comfortably, it means somewhere somebody offered a shraddha for us from our previous lives with sincerity. That is why the Pitru Devatas transferred it. That is the cycle of continuity and gratitude that is maintained in the universe. How is Surya connected to all of this? If he has to pass it to Devatas or Pitru Devatas, it is Aditya Mandalam. It is through the Aditya Mandalam that it goes. So essentially the namaskaram that is given to Surya, if you look at Surya and do a namaskaram saying, may my ancestors be well, he will pass that blessing on to them. He will pass on the result, the phalam of that namaskaram to them. Can we change that one thing and say, may my ancestors be well? Because Pitru Devata Vyavastha is an elaborate Vyavastha in itself. But we may or may not know the technicalities of it. In essence, can we look at Surya and say, you take care of my ancestors wherever they are. So that is why in Agnihotram that happens in two ways. When we offer the mantram or we offer the ajyam with swahakaram, it is taken and offered to Devatas. When it is offered with swadhakaram, it goes to Pitru Devatas. Swaha and Swadha are inseparable from Agni, so that is why they are believed to be Agni's Patnis. He is served by both Swaha and Swadha because he caters to both the requirements of the gods and to the Pitru Devatas. So by saying Surya is the Pitru Devata, what we are saying is Surya is watching over that department also. There's a host of other secrets here also, but we have to go ahead with the stotram. And I assure you, if I ever take up Aditya Hrudayam as a course, then we will elaborate on Pitaro Vasavas Sadhyaha alone for an entire day. From here, Pitaro Vasavas Sadhya Hyashvino Maruto Manuhu. Come Ashwini Devatas. Surya brings health. If something is imbalanced within the health, which we will see the cause of in just a few minutes, Surya can diagnose that. Surya can treat that. That is why the Ashwini Kumaras are also there. The Ashwini Kumaras are always present with Surya. We will see this when we do the Ratha Dhyanam, which we will do later today. These, what we mean by saying the Ashwini Kumaras are always standing there is, when you look at Surya, automatically the grace of physicians is falling on you. Because those Kiranas have that Shakti. Rogaharana Shakti is there in Kiranas. That is why no amount of vitamin D tablets can change the effect of standing and doing one namaskaram in front of Surya. But if you do Adhika Prasangam and say, instead of standing and doing a namaskaram to Surya, I can also work out at Sandhya Kalam, it has the same effect. No, it doesn't. We have this obsession in today's world, which is again a result of our colonized thinking, that we want to hyper-attach everything to science and we want to find a scientific reason. So we will begin. You know, our rishis said that you must do Sandhya Vandanam and you must do Surya Aradhana so that vitamin D falls on you. Then they would have said, take a walk in the morning. But they said, sit with Ekagrata and look at the rising sun and offer a namaskaram and offer arghyam. The reason is beyond just the physical. The Rishi's obsession is not just the well-being of the physical body alone. They have said to do 100 things for that. But their idea is that there should be uddharana of the jiva inside. The jiva inside will only have uddharana when we recognize that, oh, he's come again for me. Every morning when the sun is rising, it essentially means he still loves humanity. He still loves me. That's why he's come. And this habit, if we learn to develop towards him, that when we see him, we feel a sense of, oh wow, my Bandhu has come. My Atma Bandhu has come. Yesterday we mentioned the name of Surya, Mitra. What is a Mitra? What is the role of a friend in our life? A friend is somebody who stays with us till the end. Everybody else in our life will go, except Surya. Till that last moment, Surya alone will be there. That moment can come at any point of the day. Either Surya will be up in the sky or he will be present, dissolved in the air. But he is the true Mitra because he was there from the first second that you came till the last second that you go. That is why they called him as Mitra. That is the conception of this Devata. So this idea builds and continues to build here. When we see that with Surya, they call this as Aditya Hrudayam. This is the title song, no? Aditya Hrudayam. Aditya, what did we say yesterday? What does it mean? Son of Aditi. So when you take this name, it applies in three. Any name of Paramatma will apply in different contexts. One, the first context is from the visible context. Visible context what? Son of Aditi, Aditya. Son of Vasudeva, Vasudeva. son of Dasharatha, Dasharathi. Examples. One more context which will run below this, parallelly, is the eternal idea of this. What does this mean in all contexts? So before Surya manifested to Aditi, Surya was called Aditya even then. It suited the context perfectly. So he also became known as Aditya. Before being born as Vasudeva's son, Krishna was already Vasudeva. If you read Bhagavatam carefully, there is a story of Dhruva. When Dhruva goes to the forest, he meets Narada Muni. Narada Muni, this comes to you much before the Dashama Skandam, before the 10th chapter, where Krishna is called as Vasudeva. In the 3rd or the 4th Skandam, where the story comes, at that point, Narada meets Dhruva and he says, I will give you Upadesham of the Vasudeva Mantram. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. He came this before Krishna came as Vasudeva. So the context of Krishna coming as Vasudeva's son is incidental. Sarva Bhuta Nivasosi Vasudeva Namostute. Vasudeva means he who lives in every being's body, and he is glowing from there. He is called as Vasudeva. He was also born as Vasudeva's son, so he is also called Vasudeva. This applies to every single name of Paramatma. The nomenclature is not ordinary. So here, Aditi Putraha iti Adityaha is just one namam which is suiting that context. He who was there at the beginning of all things, when Brahma uttered Omkara, and that Omkara is what manifested over here, that Omkara is called as Aditya. That Omkara which was there at the very beginning, Omkara Swarupa, that is called as Aditya. Aditi refers to Akasha. So this is the cosmic understanding of this name. Aditi refers to Akasha. In Ananta Akasha Shakti, there was born one source of light, that is Surya. So they essentially explain what is happening on the horizon through one name. Saying it is this massive sky. In this massive sky, there is this powerful glowing form of the divine that has appeared in front of me. That we are calling as Aditya. Aditya means, Diti means to cut. Aditi means that which cannot be cut. Parabrahma is that which cannot be cut, which cannot be broken, which remains eternal and remains untouched. So it goes into Vedanta. It goes into Vedanta if we are ready to see it. I know that there are some Ganapati Upasakas here, so just to continue that idea on Surya and Ganapati, this is coming as a prompt for whoever is meant to receive it. Ganapati and Surya are also connected through this very Omkara. Yesterday we said Brahma uttered the word Om, and that from that Om, all of the universe came into being. And we also said Om does not belong to any lipi. It does not belong to any language because its akara is very, very different. That Om, the akara of Om is a Gajavadana. We all know this because it happens in art all the time, that you can see an elephant's trunk very clearly in it. That Omkara manifested, and you will see two Puranas handling the same subject differently, and that's where the confusion can begin. But the idea is the same thing. It appeared to him in one context as Ganapati, saying that I am at the center of this entire universe. I am there in that Surya Mandalam. That Omkara Swarupa is the one who had Omkaram Tat Vapuhu yesterday we said. Tat Brahma Tat Vapuhu. That Parabrahma had the Swarupam of Omkaram, first in the Akaram that it came, then in the entire body that he took on. So when you just see it from this perspective, the Namam will have a very different meaning. This idea of Aditya Hrudayam. So Aditya is this cosmic phenomenon that is in the skies. Aditya is that Parabrahma who can never be defeated. Aditi prayed to him. Why? Because she wanted her sons to win, so that the Rakshasas were balanced and they were conquered. When you do Aditya Upasana, within us there is eternally victory. That is the idea of saying Aditya Hrudayam. There are about 16 plus meanings of this word Aditya. And each of them goes to a different level of philosophy. The idea of saying Hrudayam, why did they use the word Hrudayam? Hrudayam means heart. Heart is where the essence lies. The essence of Aditya is what? Is it heat? Is it light? Stay with that question. What is the essence of Aditya? Because they called it Aditya Hrudayam, not Aditya Stotram, not Aditya Namam. They said Aditya Hrudayam. This same Aditya Hrudayam we spoke about yesterday, saying it comes in Bhavishyottara Puranam also, where Krishna talks about it for 7 chapters. He talks about the greatness of Surya to Arjuna. So something powerful in Aditya Hrudayam, in that title, which we will decode in some time. But sit with that question. Why did they call it Hrudayam? What did Agastya say to Rama in the beginning? Rama Rama Mahabaho Shrunu Guhyam. Guhyam means? Which means everybody please close all the doors. Because I'm going to tell you something very secretive. Guhyam. If you see Lalita Sahasranamam also, Lalita Sahasranamam is called as Lalita Rahasyanama Sahasra Stotram. Rahasyanams. There is a secret here. Chidambara Rahasyam. Why did our people tell so many secrets? These are not about secrets in a literal sense. The word Rahasyam, Guhyam means you cannot understand this through mere textbook definitions. Just by knowing this name means this, you will not understand it. It will not sit. Yani namani gaunani vikhyatani mahatmana. Same idea. These namams have one textbook definition. But Rahasyam means you can only understand this if you sit with that namam, if you constantly chant it, if you spend time with that namam will reveal itself to you. That is what is meant by saying these are secretive names, because you quickly read them and you move ahead. You'll miss the essence. But you stay with it, go back to it and say, what else does Aditya Hrudayam mean? What does Aditya mean? That namam will open itself. We don't have to look into textbooks. We don't have to worry, what books can I ask my children to read? You let your child see you doing namajapam. They will follow that. That bhavam, if we can inculcate, then we realize, oh, this is the rahasyam, that I have to sit with it. And the rahasyam speaks to each person differently. It spoke to Rama very differently. It will speak to us in very different ways. So this is Adityam. This is, of course, the namas can go on from here. But here starts a very interesting set again. Suvarna sadrusho bhanuhu Swarnareta Divakaraha. Twice the same idea is coming. Suvarna Sadrusho. Suvarna means gold. Swarna means, in the same line twice they are saying gold. Why? Suvarna. Su is what? Good. Varna means? So gold is a good color. That's what they're saying. Suvarna. Beautiful name. Swarna. Swarna is the sandhi of this. No difference. But they're mentioning both in the same. The idea is this. That color, which is a combination of two of the most auspicious colors. One, the color that comes at the beginning of everything. At the beginning of the day, what color is Surya? Red. Varnanam adyam lohitam. Amongst varnas, the first color is lohitam. Lohitam is red color. So the first color that comes is red. That and yellow are supposed to be the most auspicious colors because they bring a sense of bounty with them. Both those are Surya's colors. Red, because of the rising red sun, that is why we have said red is the most auspicious color. Because when he comes, there is day. If there is day, we are all safe. If it is night, everything is unsettling, it is dark. When there is day, there is Shubham, there is auspiciousness. So, day is because of Surya. As soon as he rises in the sky, he's suddenly becoming yellow. That red is mixing into yellow and causing that golden. That combination of two colors, of red and yellow, together is called as Hiranyam or Suvarnam. Suvarnam means that Varna which is beautiful to look at, which is Surya's color, which has also been given to gold. So when we say Suvarna, we are saying Surya. It is essentially his namam. This idea of Suvarna, of Hiranyavarna, Hiranyam also means gold. But look at this beautiful word. Surya is called Suvarna, he is also called Hiranyavarna. Hiranya, what does it mean? Hiranyam is made out of two words, Hita and Ramya. Hitam means that which is good for us. Ramyam means that which we enjoy, which is beautiful. Mostly in nature, in our lives at least, they don't go together most of the time. What is good for us is really not something we want. What we want is not good for us. A diabetic really does not enjoy hagalkai juice. That is hitam for him, but it's certainly not ramyam. Similarly, what he wants is a jalebi. That is ramyam for him, but not hitam. Is there anything in this universe which is good for us and which is something we can desire? Paramatma and Paramatma alone. So Paramatma is called Hitam and Ramyam Hiranyam. I don't say the same thing about gold. The idea here is Paramatma has that capability. That Paramatma is what the Atma needs. But if we can that is what the Atma always needs. Just that connectivity with him. But if we can focus ourselves onto Paramatma and say, this is what I want, then it becomes an upasana for Hiranyamaya Vapuhu. Oh, one who is this Vapuhu, whose body is something that I want and I need to be in your proximity. Then the prayer changes. Now these words that I used, Suvarna, Hiranya, do they apply to anyone? Hiranyavarnam Harinim Suvarna Rajatasrajam Chandram Hiranmayim Lakshmim Jatavedo Ma'avaha. Let's see that entire verse. Who is it referring to? Think again. Hiranyavarnam, O one that is in this glowing color of red and yellow, Suvarna Rajatasrajam, Chandram, Hiranmayim. Chandra, Hiranmayim is Surya. Chandram, Hiranmayim, Lakshmim, Jatavedo Ma'avaha. Who is this Jataveda now? Jataveda is the name given to Agni. This verse, the opening verse of Sri Suktam is saying, O Agni, O Jataveda, please invoke that Lakshmi who is Hitam and Ramyam. Let her grace fall on us. This is the process of bowing down to Surya. It is bowing down to Surya Kiranas and saying, O Surya Kiranas that have Jataveda Shakti, may your Kiranas fall on us and bring us Sampada. Sampada does not mean bank account increasing. It means may there be well-being in my environment and within my body by your grace, O Surya. That is what you mean when we say Hiranyavarnam Harinim Suvarna Rajatasrajam Chandram Hiranmayim Lakshmim Jatavedoma Avaha. I am inviting you. I am invoking you. Durga Suktam. Tam Agnivarnam Tapasa Jwalantim Vairochanim Karma Phaleshu Jushtam Durgan Devigum Sharanamaham Prapadye Sutaresitarase Namaha. Same idea. I am looking at this Agni, this Mahagni in the sky, and I am bowing down and I am seeing it as Devi. I am seeing this Agni as the source of my riches. This Agni has all the riches. Dhanam Agnir, Dhanam Vayur, Dhanam Suryo, Dhanam Vasuhu. This is what Vedam is saying. Dhanam is not what we think. Dhanam Agnihi, Dhanam Vayuhu. Having clean air is a great Dhanam. In that sense, we're pretty poor in Bangalore. Dhanam Agnir, Dhanam Vayuhu, Dhanam Suryo, Dhanam Vasuhu. Having healthy soil around you, that is Dhanam. Dhanam Vasuhu. Dhanam Indro Bruhaspatir. Having clouds that are not bringing acid waters onto you, that is wealth. All of this source is where? Surya. That is why they said, want to read Sri Suktam? The best way to read Sri Suktam, two ways. Light a lamp and read Sri Suktam for Ambal, or look at the rising sun. The lamp is already lit over there. Look at the rising sun and read that very Sri Suktam. The bhavam will change. Suryam Hiranmayim Lakshmim, Chandram Hiranmayim Lakshmim. You'll realize it's all about light. Because this culture is obsessed with light. What are we called in this culture? We are called as Bharatiyas. Bha means prakasham, bhanu, bhasayati, to glow. Bharatiya is made up of two root words, bha and rati. Rati means ishta, desire. Rati means to follow something when we have a desire. Kamadeva's wife's name is Rati. Because desire alone is not enough. We need to follow that desire. Then only that desire gets fulfilled. Bharati means somebody who is in constant quest for light. That is what this civilization has been called as. When we call ourselves as Bharatiya, that is what it truly means. That we are in search of a light from above. We are constantly of that light within. And Surya is called Bhanu, Swabhanu. That light is here. That light is outside. You look at that light as the mother. Ambal has a very strong connection with Surya. One is this idea, just through names. Even in Sahasranamam, we are reading this. Bhanu Mandala Madhyastha. She is in the center of the solar system. But if you see Ambal's description, you will see that she has two earrings. Tatanka Yugali Bhuta, Tapana, Udapa Mandala. Tapana means Surya, to burn. Udapa is Chandra. Surya and Chandra are Devi's ornaments. They are her earrings in one version. Another version says they are her eyes. Another version says they are her breasts. Look at the beautiful context associated with each. They are her earrings because they are worn by her as ornaments. She wears them and she removes them when she feels like. Meaning, she controls them, they don't control her. Surya and Chandra control our lives. When we are born, it is written, this many Suryodayas he will see. But for her, that does not apply. They are in her control. She is not in their control. Number one. This is when she wears them in her ears. Second thing is, they say that if you want to do any papa karma, they say it, I'm not saying it. If you want to do any papa karma, you should see a time when Chandra and Surya are not there, that time you can do it. So anyway, Chandra will not be there on Amavasya. So that day is there. But the Surya is there dissolved in the air around you. So that is the only time you can do it is when that Surya is not there, which means you cannot do it. Because whatever you do gets reported by Chandra and Surya because they are constant Jagat Sakshi. They are Jagadeka Chakshu. He is Jagadeka Chakshushu. He is constantly watching every being, and when he watches, he reports it directly to Ambal because he has proximity here. So he can directly say, Amma, this is what this person has done. And she takes note of the Papa and the Punya Rashi of every being. This is with respect to Surya and Chandra being her earrings. Why do we say that they are her eyes? Because she gives light to the world through this. When you see the light of Surya, can you look at it and do dhyanam saying, this is Ambal's eyes. This is the eye. This is the Akshi of Amavaru. There is a phenomenal Vidya called as Dakshinakshi Vidya, which talks about the power of Ikshana Shakti. Ambal's names are all about her eyes. Meenakshi, Kamakshi, Neelayatakshi, Vishalakshi. They're all about her eyes because her eyes have the entire universe in them. Unmesha Nimishotpanna Vipanna Bhuvanavalihi. She doesn't blink because if she blinks, we'll all be gone. Time is relative here between these lokas and other lokas. So when she keeps Surya and Chandra here, she is just doing that to remind us, I am watching over you. There is nothing to fear when I am there. And finally, she has Surya and Chandra on her breasts. Essentially, a mother uses those very breasts to nourish her children, to give them her stanya kshiram, her breast milk. That breast milk comes from us as Surya Kiranas. Surya Kiranas are that very breast milk which is making all life on this earth grow, and then we are receiving that nutrition. Can we look at the Kiranas in that fashion? Then the entire approach changes. One goddess, one Surya, they changed the iconography in 3 places, saying here, here and here, and essentially showed us that all of this is coming from her to us as nourishment. And when we bow down to that, we recognize Surya no different from her. That is why Bhanu Mandala Madhyastha. So this set of names from Suvarna Sadrusho Bhanuhu, especially this name Suvarna Sadrusho, connects to this idea. Yesterday we spoke about Dr. Savita being one of the forces leading this. Another is Swarnaka. Aditya is choosing Aditya's Katha through his own namesakes. Suvarna Sadrusho Bhanuhu Swarnareta Divakaraha. Now comes the fascinating part of Aditya Hrudayam. Haridashwas Sahasrachi Sapta Saptir Marichiman. I told Savitaka when this got fixed, I will not be able to take up every namam in detail, but I will need a minimum of 25 minutes at least to take up one namam. That namam is about to come up for us in 30 seconds. But before that, Haridashwas Sahasrachi. Haridashwaha. This Ashwaha means horses. Haridashwaha means the one who has green color horses. Haritavarnam. Haritavarnam is green. Surya's horses are green. Why? If you had to venture a guess, what do Surya's kiranas do when they fall on plants? Photosynthesis. The element involved in this is chlorophyll. What color? The life-giving rays of the sun, which cause the entire process of photosynthesis and thereby sustain all life on this earth, are metaphorically represented by rishis at a time before this wisdom was recognized by the entire world as green colors, saying this is the source of all life on the earth, metaphorically and literally. That is why Haridashvaha, O one who has green horses. Can you do a namaskaram to his horses like that? It's coming from him. The source of life is coming from him. Sapta Sapti. Surya's number is 7. Any connections to this number, to his festivals? Ratha Saptami. Radha Saptami is one of the 24 Saptamis. All the 24 Saptamis have different names in Shastrams. Amongst them, the most powerful one that we still follow, many of us follow, is Radha Saptami. Ratha also has to do with him only. But this word and this number 7, Sapta and 7. Surya has 7 horses. What do these 7 horses signify? So those of you who have a notebook, you take a note of how many 7s come. Okay? So let's explore a little bit. What are these 7? So 7 days. Okay, we'll take one at a time. Let's take 7 days. How do the days come into being? So sunrise to the next day sunrise is counted as one day. But how do you determine that today is Bhanuvasara, tomorrow is Somavasara, day after is Mangalavasara, Kujavasara or Budhavasara, whatever it may be? How do you determine this? At the time of, there is a phenomenal calculation involved in this, and I'm not getting into the details of that, but at the time of sunrise, whichever graha's hora, meaning the pull of that graha is felt at the time of sunrise, that graha's pull extends through that day. So when Surya is rising on one particular day, it is Surya Graha. Now it may get a little confusing and I will clear that up. At the time of Surya rising, Surya himself is rising, his own effect is maximum at the time. So that day is called as Aditya Vasaram or Bhanuvasaram. Same thing got adapted in English as Sunday. The next day, there is a way of calculating this. It's not an arbitrary figure. Correctly 24 hours later, when Surya is again rising, at that time, Chandra's hora is maximum. Chandra is also called as Soma. Yamas Somo Hyapampatihi. Yamas Somaha. Soma is Chandra's name. So, Somavaram. Also called as Induvaram, Induvasara. The next day, at the time of Suryodayam, which graha's effect is there? Mangala. So, Mangalavaram. Similarly, Buddha. Similarly, Guru or Bruhaspati. Similarly, Shukra, Shani. So these are 7 days that have come into being based on sunrise. Based on the column of sunrise and what comes into being as a result of that. So when you see the 7 horses, this is just about personifying those 7 horses. And how do you look at the one who is coming with those horses, who has those horses in his control? He has a charioteer. I'll talk about his story in a while. But when you look at this aspect, the 7 days of the week are governed by one Kala Purusha. That Kala Purusha is Surya Bhagavan. This is one reason he has 7 horses. Any other associations with 7? 7 colors. One form of light is coming. Put that light through a prism, you'll get 7 colors. Your Vibgyor is nothing but this. The one who is there is completely the manifestation of all these together. He splits himself into 7, and those 7 are the 7 horses that then reach us, that make that light reach us. Those 7 horses are the Surya Kiranas. So this is looking at Surya as Kanti Swarupa, the source of light. The first was the example of looking at Surya as Kala Swarupa. Now Kanti Swarupa. What other 7s are there? Sapta Rishi. Okay, we'll come there. There are some more metaphoric 7s waiting to be discovered. Sapta Swara. Sa Ri Ga Ma Pa Da Ni. Coming to you from where? What is the source of all these Sapta Swaras? Omkara. So when you look at this, at Surya as Omkara Purusha, that Omkara splits itself as Sapta Swaras. Those Swaras then become mantras. Those mantras then come into Vedas. Those Vedas then become our foundation for civilizational thought. All this from one Omkara Swarupa. Brahma saw Omkara manifest there. That Omkara splits itself as Shabda Purusha in two ways, Nada Purusha in two ways. One is Sarigama Padani are the 7 horses. There is also a phenomenal system that we have that we call as the Chandas. Chandas is a meter. It is something that dictates how something needs to be chanted. So if, for example, the most standard Chandas is Anushtup Chandas, which has 32 syllables when you break it down. So those 32 syllables need to be chanted in a specific way. The breaks are at certain places. That is one kind of Chandas. There are 7 Chandasas like that. Can we learn their names? Because those Chandasas are Devata Swarupas, because sound is Devata. So this Chandas is Anushtup, Gayatri, Ushnik, Brihati, Pankti, Trishtup, Jagati. 7 Chandasas, 7 different ways of chanting Veda mantras, ruled by who? One Veda Purusha. The combination of all that Veda Nadam, all that Veda Shabdam, Veda Swaram is one Surya Bhagavan. From him, he gives 7 ways in which we can chant that. So you look at him as Nada Purusha, you will see this. What other 7s? Sapta Urdhva Lokas. Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha, Mahaha, Janaha, Tapaha, Satyam. All those he sheds light on. Within us, we want our ascension to be to the highest loka. We want these places to be activated. From here onwards is all the Urdhva lokas. Below this is the Adho lokas. The objective is Surya brings light to these places. So he rules over the Sapta lokas. That is one. What else? Sapta chakras in the human body. Those chakras yesterday we spoke about are Padmas. All those Sapta chakras are being activated because of Kundalini. There is one Kundalini which is going from the Mooladhara chakra till the Sahasrara chakra, and that Kundalini is making each chakra open. That Kundalini is energy. Now you will all agree when I say that Surya's kiranas have both light and energy in them. That energy is also present in Surya over here. There is a Surya over here just as there is a Surya outside. Slowly we are going from Surya outside to Surya inside. With one name. What is the name? Sapta Sapti. We are counting and seeing how many different kinds of 7s. How many have come so far? We'll see how many more come. Surya within causes the 7 chakras to be activated. He controls the movement of the Kundalini across them. He is that primordial Purusha, that energy who is ruling over these Sapta chakras. This is one other aspect when you look at those, the horses as the Sapta chakras. What else? That's all, no? We should be done, no? Here is when, okay, Sapta Rishis, yes. But here is when Rishis Vijnanam, the wisdom of the Rishis, goes to a mind-boggling level. Yesterday I had mentioned that they had names given to each kind of kiranas. Here, if you see different Puranas, they will give you different names, but they have named 7 kiranas and said, these kiranas are the 7 horses. These specific kiranas. These horses are kiranas. They are the personification of rays. Each horse or each kirana has a direct effect on 3 things. 1, this kirana is responsible for some other astral body being lit up and working. Second, that same kirana, when it falls on the earth, it activates a certain dhanyam, a certain grain, and it activates a certain precious metal. So this kirana is responsible for that graha to be formed. It is responsible for certain dhanyas and for certain ratnas to be formed. The wisdom in this is mind-blowing. Are you ready to take this deep? This leap? So the first kirana, the first ashwa is called as Sushumna. Sushumna is the ashwa, the kirana, that goes and falls on Chandra and makes Chandra active. On the earth, Sushumna falls onto the grain of rice. Rice absorbs it. And it falls onto pearls found below the ocean, in the bed of the ocean. All of these are connected to Chandra Graha. The next kirana that is spoken about is called as Udanvasu. Udanvasu activates the planet Mars and it also activates something here on Earth. What is the grain associated with Mars? Everybody will quickly Google now. Navagraha Dhanya. We don't know. We buy it quickly in that plastic packet set. We don't know anything about it. Full grocery shop list will come. I will not tell you everything. I am deeply hoping that you will also go back and make some associations. What is the Ratna associated with Kuja? Coral. This we'll know because Ratnas are more fascinating than Dhanyas, no? This Kirana is activating a Graha, is activating a Dhanya, activating a Ratna. This Kirana is known as Udanvasu. The third is another Kirana that is known as Vishwakarma. Yesterday Vishwakarma was a character. That character is nothing but an extension of Surya. Vishwakarma here activates Buddha Graha, activates one Dhanya here. What is that? Sprouts, green gram, and one Ratna, emerald. This everybody will know. Then comes another Kirana that is called as Udavasu. For Kujagraha, it is Udanvasu. For Bruhaspati, the Kirana that activates Bruhaspati is called as Udavasu. Finally, or not finally, the next Kirana that activates Shukra Graha is called as Vishwavyachas. How many Kiranas done? And finally, sixth Kirana. One last Kirana that's spoken about, two more are spoken about. Surat Kirana, which activates Shani Graham, and the corresponding Dhanyam and the Ratnam. They said 7. Where is the 7th one? Now is where they make us think. 6 grahas so far. The 7th one, they have said, this Kirana falls equally on all the grahas and participates with that corresponding Kirana and activates that graha. This Kirana also causes the Nakshatra Mandala to be active. This Kirana is called as Harikesha. Yello kelangide alla? Namo Harikeshayo pavitine pushtanam pataye namaha. Harikesha. Kesha means hair. Vaidikam. Kesha means Kirana. Harikesha means the one who is flooding the directions with his Kiranas. Keshava means exactly the same thing. We'll come to Keshava in some time. So we have given 6 grahas and one that is responsible for all of these. Surya is, we are calling Surya as a graha. What is a graha? A graha is not a planet. Look at that word. Earlier I said, let's remember that word grahanam. Grahanam means to hold. Grahana Shakti means to grasp, literally. Anything that has the power to grasp is called grahanam. In Ayurveda, the small intestine is referred to as grahani because it grasps nutrients from the food that we eat and then disposes of what is not necessary. So Grahana Shakti means in this universe, anything that can hold us and anything that can be held or anything that has the power to hold is called as Graham. It is not a planet. So then we also have 2 more on the list, no? Why are they not here? Who are they? Rahu and Ketu. Why are they not mentioned here? We call them in Sanskritam as Chaya Grahams. Chaya means shadow. What does this mean? When do Rahu and Ketu become most active? During eclipses. During Grahanams. What do they do? Essentially, scientifically, what is happening at that time? It is shadows that are falling on the earth. Either the moon is getting in the way of the sun and therefore that shadow is being formed. Shadow, Chaya. Rahu and Ketu are not planets. This is Rishi Vijnanam. That they did not say, oh, grahas are mere planets. No, they said anything that has the ability to have a hold on your life and has a hold on your body, because the grahas are present within the body, and I'll show you in 1 minute which graham is situated. Whatever can hold you like that is called as a graham. Sometimes even a shadow can have an effect on you. That shadow is called as Chaya Graham. That is why Rahu and Ketu are not counted as planets. None of these are planets. Surya is not a planet. But Surya is called Graha Mandala Nayaka because he is responsible for all these coming into being because his kiranas are falling on each other being. And his kiranas not only fall outside from the universe onto our body, but within us. If we learn to connect to that Aditya, these kiranas that I just spoke about, these will each fall on us in a certain way and activate that graha to work well within us. Because whether we know anything else or not, we all love this idea of grahachara. Ask somebody, how are you doing? Yella chanagide, but yeno nan grahachara hingide pa. Kalane sariyagilla nange. Bhakti will not be there. Bhaya will be there max. Especially, no devata commands the level of fear that yesterday's graha devata got. One Shani's line will be longer than Hanuman's tail, but we will not have any tattva identification with it. Grahas are not simply here just to trouble us because they don't have anything better to do. Grahas are acting based on our karmas. Our karma in a previous life has dictated this person has done this and therefore they must reap this benefit in the next life. Grahas at the time of birth will align themselves in such a way that when we are born, all of their movement will bring those previous karmas back to us. So grahas are literally dancing to our tunes. Based on what we do, they are aligning themselves at a celestial level. But these grahas are present within the body also. Shastram talks about this saying, Chandra is here on the forehead. Kuja is hidden within the eyes. Kuja Graha Shakti is there in the eyes. Buddha Graha works above the eyes, near the eyelids, just in this area. Bruhaspati Graha is at the Kanthasthanam, at the place of the neck. Shukra Graham is in the Hrudayam. Hrudayam is also associated with creativity. Shukra Graham is associated with creativity. Shani Graham is in the Nabhi, the navel. Rahu and Ketu are in, Rahu is in the face and Ketu is in the feet. These grahas, for them to work properly, one namaskaram you learn to do to Aditya, these grahas will work properly. Because his kiranas have to fall properly and for everything else to move smoothly. So this much wisdom is contained in the idea that these 7 kiranas are falling and making everything work because of one glowing form of divinity. The one who is holding them is called as Sapta Sapti. If you understand this connection of 7, there are lots more 7s, but we are proceeding in the interest of time. If you understand this, when you do a namaskaram to him, you will see why we do it on Saptami. Sapta Saptavaha Prita, Sapta Loka Pradipanaha. The one who illuminates 7 worlds. Saptami Sahito Deva. O Deva who is present along with Saptami Devi. Saptami Sahito Deva. Gruhanarghyam Divakaraha. O Divakara, please receive this Arghyam. Surya is Arghya Priya. He likes to receive Arghyam. Because the entire concept of evaporation and condensation is contained in that little bit of Arghyam that you can offer him. Different devatas respond to different kinds of offerings differently. Surya in particular receives this. So when you do a namaskaram to him on any Saptami with this bhavam, that activation becomes that much more stronger. You can apply that astrologically, you can apply that philosophically, you can apply that through Bhakti Marga, whichever margam it is. Surya becomes the gateway for any kind of growth, spiritual, emotional, physical, any kind of it, it is Surya. This goes on, but there is something very, very beautiful to discover in the later set of names that comes after Sapta Sapti Marichiman, Timiron Mathanas Shambhu, Twashtam Martandaman Hiranyagarbha Shishirat Tapano Ahaskaro Ravihi, Agni Garbho Adite Putraha, O son of Aditi, Agni Garbho Adite Putra Shankha Shishiranashanaha, the remover of cold, Vyomanathas Tamo Bhedi, Rug Yajus Samaparagaha. Remember this. Rug, Yajus and Samavedas are all around him. Samaparagaha, Ghanavristirapam Mitro, Vindhyavidi Plavangamaha, Atapi Mandali Mrityuhu. Surya is called as Mrityuhu. Because he is killing things. Samhara in his hands. Atapi Mandali Mrityuhu, Pingalas Sarvatapanaha, Kavir Vishwo Mahatejaha, Rakta Sarvad Bhavodbhavaha. Nakshatra Grahataranam Adhipo Vishwabhavanaha, Tejasamapi Tejasvi, Dwadashatman Namostute. From here, Agastya took off. Dwadashatman Namostute. My namaskarams to the one who is present as Dwadasha Atman. 12 forms. What are those 12 forms? Yesterday we discussed this. That was yesterday, Vinay. Dwadashatman is what? What does the 12 signify? 12, Aditya signifying 12 months, and the intensity with which Surya's kiranas fall on the earth in that particular month based on the distance of the earth from the sun. So 12 different levels of intensity are Dwadashatmans. How many Jyotirlingas are there? Jyotirlingas we call them. Jyoti. 12 Jyotirlingas, 12 forms of Surya. Surya is also Jyoti. Linga is also Jyoti. Dwadashatman means the namaskaram to Surya that is present as the Dwadasha Jyotirlingas. When you go to Shiva, how do you see Surya within Shiva? This portion will tell you this. Because from Dwadashatman Namostute, there is a direct lifting of Veda Tattvam and putting it into this portion. In Vedam, there is one portion where Vedamata wants to do stuti to Shiva. And Krishna Premi Swamigal, he so beautifully said, Vedam also does Nama Sankirtanam. That Nama Sankirtanam is called as Rudra Namakam. Namas Somaya cha Rudraya cha Namas Tamraya cha Arunaya cha Namas Shambhave cha Mayobhave cha Namas Shankaraya cha Mayaskaraya cha. Can you see how much Namaha is coming over there? That Namaskaram is only Nama Sankirtanam. For Vedamata, that Namaskaram is Rudram. In Rudram, who is Rudram addressed to? If any of you are familiar with the process of reading Rudram, you will see before Rudram is read, Sankalpam is made. At the time of Sankalpam, you will say, Asya Shri Rudra Divya Asya Shri Rudradhyaya Prashna Mahamantrasya. I am going to read this now. Asya Shri Rudradhyaya Prashna Mahamantrasya. Aghora Rishihi. The Rishi for this is Aghora. Anushtup Chandaha. It is in the Chandas of Anushtup. Now comes the magic. Look at this is one word, okay? Sankarshana Murti Swarupo Yosavaditya Paramapurusha Sayesha Rudro Devata. One word. We'll break it down. Sankarshana Murti Swarupaha Yosavadityaha. That Aditya which is present as Sankarshana. What is Sankarshana? The one who is keeping everything on its perfect axis and ensuring that the earth is not tilting by 0.1 degrees more than it should or less than it should. The one that is ensuring that the distance between every planetary body is maintained with perfect precision. That Karshana Shakti, to know how much to pull and how much to keep, that Karshana Shakti he has in complete measure. So he is called as Samyak Karshana iti Sankarshana. That Sankarshana is who? Aditya. Sankarshana Murti Swarupo Yosavadityaha. Sayesho Rudro Devata. He is Rudra. This is how they began Rudra. That Aditya is this Rudra that I am worshipping. They did not differentiate Shiva and Aditya at all. And then begins Rudram. When you read Rudram, you will see only Surya Namas there. Asau yas tamro aruna utababhrus sumangala. Asau yas tamraha. Tamra is the color of copper, which has red and yellow in it. Asau yas tamro aruna uta babhrus sumangalaha. Babhru is golden. From the time he rises, red mixed with yellow and then golden. This is the entire process of Surya rising in the sky. All the namas of Surya are coming in Rudram because we recognized that Surya's kiranas are Shiva Shakti. There are beautiful stories also in Purana that talk about the Tattvam. There is one beautiful story where Indra goes to Kailasa and Indra gets into a tiff with Nandi. So when he gets into a tiff with Nandi, Nandi kicks him and he falls unconscious. Everybody is so relieved. My God, after 1.5 hours, one story has come today. What to do? Our rishis have given us kathas that are filled with tattvam which is filled with kathas. So at what duration and in what capacity what comes, we have no say over. So when Indra gets kicked like this by Nandi, he becomes unconscious. When he becomes unconscious, in Kailasa, he's still very much in Kailasa, he has a dream in which Shiva tells him, there is a vigraham of mine that I want you to establish on the banks of a certain river. Go and do that and install along with me my dharmakantas, Usha, Padmini and Chaya, and go and do Aradhana for me over there. You will lose the dosham of having fought with Nandikeshwara, who is my Pramathagana. So Indra does this sthapana of this very murti that he finds in a kshetram that we today celebrate as Arsavilli, which is very close to Vishakhapatnam in Andhra. This is one of the most phenomenal Surya kshetras, where Surya's tattva is entirely identical to the Surya that you see over here. And that is entirely a coincidence. I did not even plan to speak about either Arsavilli, nor did I know this form of Surya Narayana will be here. But Surya's presence in Arsavali is extraordinary. That is Indra Kritam, Indra Pratisthapita Vigraham. So Surya comes in a dream in which Shiva is saying, install Surya, it's no different from me. There are dhyana shlokas talking about this exact idea. That you look at Shiva inside Surya Mandalam, you will see only Shiva. Namah Shivaya Sambaya Sa Ambaya. Namah Shivaya Sambaya Saganaya Adihetave Rudraya Vishnave Tubhyam Brahmane Surya Murtaye. To that Rudra who is in the center of the solar system, I am bowing down. Sauramandala Madhyastam Sambam. Sambam is with her. Sambam Samsara Bheshajam Neelagrivam Shashankankam Namami Shivam Avyayam. Sauramandala Madhyastam, in the center of the solar system. So much importance because Shiva and Surya are no different. That is why from here onwards, from Dwadashatman Namostute, taking the Namaskara Bhavam of Rudram, because in Rudram, out of 11 Anuvakas, from Anuvaka number 2 till Anuvaka number 9, everything is Namaskaram. That Namaskara Tattvam, that Saram, the essence of that Namaskaram comes from Dwadashatman Namostute. Namah Purvaya Giraye, Paschimaya Draye Namaha, Jyotir Gananam Pataye, Dinadhipataye Namaha, Jayaya Jayabhadraya, Haryashvaya, Namo Namaha, Namo Namas Sahasramsho, Adityaya Namo Namaha, Nama Ugraya Viraya Sarangaya Namo Namaha, Namah Padma Prabodhaya, Martandaya Namo Namaha, Brahmeshana Chuteshaya, Suryaya Aditya Vachase, Bhasvate Sarvabhakshaya, Raudraya Vapushe Namaha. They left it with no doubt. Raudraya Vapushe Namaha. That Surya who is intense, Raudra Swarupam. To that Surya I bow down in Namaskaram. Because Rudra Tattvam, Surya Tattvam, identical. You want to look for Shiva in it. Another rahasyam. Every graha has two components to it. One is known as the Adhidevata. The Adhidevata of a graha is what is the spirit of that graha. For example, what is the spirit of Surya? It's fire. So the Adhidevata of Surya is Agni. The Pratyadhidevata is the ruling deity over that element. The ruling deity of Agni, of Surya, is Rudra. That is why on Sunday, technically we should do Shiva Radhana. But we are all familiar with it on Monday. Shall we go through this graha list? Because at least that way you'll wake up a little bit and stop yawning directly at me. We'll go through this graha list to see who is the Adhidevata of each graha and the Pratyadhidevata to understand what is the system of worship that is designed in a varam and how do you connect to each graham in that particular day. So the first graha, Surya graha, Adhidevata, the element, the ruling element of this is Agni. The Pratyadhidevata is Shiva. Next day is Chandra. Chandra, essentially what does the moon control on the earth? Water and tides. So Chandra rules over, the Adhidevata of Chandra is Apaha or water. And Chandra is ruled by Gauri. The ruling Devata of Chandra is Gauri. On Monday, the reason we do Shiva Radhana is because we do Shiva Radhana of Shiva and Shiva together, Shiva and Gauri put together. When Shiva is with Gauri, Sa Uma becomes Soma. So that is another reason it is called as Somavaram. So this is for Monday or for Induvasaram. For Kuja Vasaram, Kuja or the element Mars, I will not say planet, Kuja Graham is born to Bhumi Devi. So his entire spirit is of Bhu, the element of Prithvi, and he is ruled over by Kshetra Palaka. The element, the next Graha, that is Buddha Graham, is entirely composed of Vishnu. So his Pratyadi Devata is Narayana. Bruhaspati Graham is ruled by Indra and his Adidevata is Brahma. We all say, oh no, but Brahma nobody worships, no, as if we became the Supreme Court on the subject. Brahma is very much worshipped in Kalikalam as Guru Swarupam. There is a Brahma Sthanam in a Yajnam that happens. Brahma means learned one. We worship Brahmavetas only when we do Guru Parampara Stotrams, when we do any kind of Guru Vandanam, we are worshipping Brahma because it is his wisdom that we are recognizing. That is why Thursday is meant for Brahma Aradhana, which we do through Gurus. Shukra is ruled by Indra's wife Shachi, and Shukra's Pratyadi Devata, on Shukra Varam, one is supposed to worship Indra. But we don't worship Indra on Friday. Why? Because Indra was given riches by Mahalakshmi. He was given the position of Indratvam by Lakshmi. So instead of going to the boss, we go to the boss's boss. That is Mahalakshmi and say, directly coming to you, Ma, this is easier. Shani is ruled by Prajapati, and Shani's Pratyati Devata is Yama. That is why yesterday in the Katha I told you Yama coming on Saturday is not a coincidence. Similarly, Rahu is ruled by the Pitru Devatas, the Adi Devata, and the Pratyati Devata of Rahu is Durga. That is why they say during Rahu Kalam doing Durga Aradhana gives Manasika Balam, because Rahu can work on the mind in very strange ways. Reaching out to Rahu's boss ensures that he will go smoothly. Ketu is ruled by Brahma, and Ketu's Pratyati Devata is Chitragupta. In some versions you will also see Ganapati. That is why Ketu is connected to this. But this is the concept of Adhidevata and Pratyati Devata. If you connect, you will see that there is a connection and a porosity that works between both of them. All we have to be able to do is make that connect. When in the context of astrology, it's important to understand that fear does not have a place and should not have a place when we worship the Graha Mandalam. All we need to be able to do is bow down saying these are cosmic forces at work outside and inside. If I live my life doing good to myself and to others, I need not constantly be worried. There is a respect for the system that is necessary, and there is wisdom in seeking help when necessary, but you certainly don't have to watch the TV every morning to know, should I make a direction, should I travel in southeast direction, because God help you if you have to go northwest. Then in Bangalore you will go all the way to Hebbal and then go to Silk Board because you saw that TV. The idea is we have gotten so caught in the commercials of things, we've lost the essence. The essence is these are cosmic forces. Let them do their job. Respect them, revere them, don't fear them. Recognize that all you have to do is one namaskaram, and then things become that much more beautiful and open to you. This namaskara bhavam is up till this portion. Raudraya Vapushe Namaha. Slowly the stotram concludes, much to most of your relief. Because as the stotram concludes is when we realize the essence is hidden in the last few words. Raudraya Vapushe Namaha. He continues from there and he says, Tamoghnaya, Himaghnaya, Shatrughnaya, Bhas. After this? Kritaghnaghnaya Devaya. This is the essence of Surya Aradhana. Kritagna and Kritaghna. 2 words. Essentially, if we have to keep aside too much philosophy and make it very basic, we are alive because of Surya. Surya's kiranas are falling on Bhumi. Bhumi is being kind to us and allowing life to emerge from her. We eat the food from Bhumi, which is caused because of Surya's rays, and we are surviving. Are we acknowledging that? Those who acknowledge that are called as Kritagnyas. Those who do not acknowledge that are called as Kritaghnas. If we constantly look at what is on the plate and not recognize the hand that is feeding, that is a disservice to God. When we say Annapurne Sada Purne, we are recognizing the hand that is feeding and saying, Amma, this is coming from you. That Annapurna Shakti is there in Bhumi Devi. That Annapurna Shakti is there in Surya Kiranas. Surya is fond of those who remember that cycle, who remember to be grateful, not just to him, but to any being that is bringing us any kind of kindness. If you show them back gratitude, Surya recognizes that. That is why now, when Rama was apparently appearing despondent, Surya came to him. Why? Because Rama constantly thought about everybody else. Even when Rama was suffering without Sita, imagine this news. He has just found out that his most beloved being has been kidnapped. He doesn't know where, he doesn't know who. Keep aside Paramatma. We are talking purely from the context of the story. He doesn't know anything. In that moment, he's lost all heart. And we all think of Rama only in a certain way as Maryada Purushottama. But you want to see the most forlorn and the most unhappy and dejected Rama, you should read that portion of the Ramayana where he's without Sita. Lakshmana says he doesn't know what season is going on. He only knows one season is in his heart. Sita, Sita, Sita. That's all he says and he's crying. Even when Rama is like that, moments after he just realized what just happened, he went, Lakshmana followed him, Sita was kidnapped. If only Lakshmana had stayed. All this is running through his head. In that moment, he sees a vulture screaming in pain. And he goes, he pets that vulture, and that vulture attains mukti. As if that is not enough for the vulture, he builds a pyre, places that vulture on it, and sets fire to that pyre, ensuring that it will not go anywhere but Vaikuntha. Narayana, who takes care of all the worlds, himself comes and does this for the sake of that vulture, when this Narayana is in a human vesham who is suffering. Despite his suffering, he is thinking of this bird. Why? Because when he came to Panchavati, they met Jatayu then. And Jatayu said, I'm your father's friend, I'm Dasharatha's friend. And Rama said, oh, it's like having my own father over here. And Jatayu used to watch over them when they went around close by. So Rama would always remember that and say, oh, Jatayu is taking such good care of us. In our lives, is there space for gratitude for people who are nourishing us? Because Rama remembered that. When he burnt Jatayu, he said, he took such good care of me, he sacrificed his own life for my wife. So it is my responsibility to send him to Urdhvalokas. That gratitude Surya remembered and said, now for such a being who has spent his entire life thinking about others, in this moment I will come for him. That is exactly what you mean when you say Ananyas Chintayanto Mam Ye Jana Paryupasate Tesham Nityabhiyuktanam Yogakshemam Vahamyaham. For those who are dedicated to me in some form or the other, through service, through love, through japam, through bhavam, through mantram, through tantram, whatever way we dedicate our lives to Paramatma through, he will take care. When? Nityam. Not one, today I'll take care, tomorrow I'll take a weekly break. I will take care of this being constantly. Yoga kshemam vahamyaham. Their well-being is my responsibility. And he came now to show Rama that. Rama is no different from him, but he came as a context to show that. And as the Aditya Hrudayam goes on, as it concludes, it says, Sarva Yesha Ravi Prabhu. This Ravi is everything. He's there, he's here, he's around us. And this Ravi, the essence of this Ravi has been given to Rama, saying, you look at your Ishtadevata inside this Ravi, connect with him. That connection only is Dhiyo Yonav Prachodayat. Let that light you up, Rama, Agastya is saying. And as soon as this is said, Sarva Yesha Ravi Prabhu, he tells him, when things are not okay, Yena Mapat Sukrutcheshu, Kantareshu, when you are alone, when you are in solitude, think of him. Kantareshu bhayeshu cha kirtayan purushat kaschit navasi tati raghava pujayasvenam ekagro. He gave that underlined word, ekagrata. Concentration, focus on him. Pujayasvenam ekagro deva devam jagatpatim yetat trigunitam japtva. You read this thrice. Yuddheshu vijayishyasi asmin kshane mahabaho ravanam tvam vadhishyasi. In that second, Ravana will go. You will already have killed him. And Rama does this. And when Rama does this, Valmiki writes, Paramharsham avaptuvan. He's so happy. All that shokam has left him. Why? Because he connected to that source of light and realized that light is everywhere. I don't have to fear. I don't have to feel this lack of connection. I don't have to feel desolate anymore. What picked him up? Surya picked him up. What picks us up when we are feeling dark, when we are feeling low? Light picks us up. If somebody is sitting in a dark room, their mood will be worse. Switch on the light, the mood automatically becomes better. Because such is the power of light that it brightens our soul. It did it. Ramachandramurti is Parabrahma. But he showed us as an example that if it can happen to him, it can certainly happen to each one of us. How do we do that connect? Through a simple namaskaram, through an arghya pradhanam, through remembering that, oh, Surya is rising, let me treat him like a loved one and let me be ready before he comes. If a guest that we like is coming to our house, we won't sleep in and say, let him come when he comes, I'll wake up when I wake up. We will wake up earlier, go and receive them. This is only if we like them. If we don't like them, it's a different discussion. Can you develop that attitude towards Surya? That's why they said, get up before Surya. Be ready to welcome him. When you do that, something changes. Your attitude towards, it's not just about physical health. Your attitude towards God changes. God becomes a loved one. Rama did this. Rama then, Trirachamya Shuchir Bhutva Dhanuradaya Viryavan. And then he took that sankalpam saying, I will be able to now defeat him. And the Devatas watched Rama with this renewed confidence, struck that arrow, and in the very next chapter, Ravana was gone. Because when Aditya Hrudayam has been learnt, not by hearted, when the essence of Aditya has been internalized, there is light everywhere. When there is light everywhere, darkness is gone. The darkness here was personified as Ravana, was gone. That is the essence of this. How do you connect with this Aditya? That is the last thing I'd like to leave us with today. If you are comfortable, would it be okay for us to meditate on for a few minutes on the Surya Mandalam? Because Surya has been given this phenomenal, or Surya has been seen with this phenomenal visualization of a Ratham. The Ratham is not given to too many other devatas. There are contexts when they use the Ratham. But for the most part, the Ratham is always with Surya because Gamana Shakti, that which has the ability to move, is the Ratham. This body is also called a Ratham. Namo Rathebhyo Ratapatibhyascha Namaha, we say. This also has the power to move. Within this Ratham and within the Vishwa Ratham, there is one force that is smoothly ensuring that all of this is moving. That force is known as Parabrahma, Surya, or any of the 127 other names that Aditya Hrudayam calls out to him as. Now the interesting thing about this Ratham is, this Ratham, this Mandalam is massive. And it has one wheel. That one wheel is what we spoke about yesterday as the Samvatsara Chakram. That Samvatsara Chakram in the universe spans over 9,000 yojanas. One yojana variously being described as 13 kilometers. It is that massive above and all around us. So when they ask us to do Ratha Dhyanam, it is a way of seeing Surya all over us in a massive size. And the Ratham and the Mandalam, that space around Surya, is a very powerful one. So that's why I'd like to conclude with us just with a visual of this. And as I do that, I invite you to close your eyes. It is also Madhyana Sandhya. It is also a Sandhya Kalam right now, entirely planned by his Sankalpam, not mine. So at this time to do Surya Aradhana on a Bhanuvasaram at Sandhya Kalam with that blessing in place, all we have to do is tune in now to Divya Akaram, that divine formation of the Mandalam, the space around him. We will go stage by stage from the outward to the inward, leaving us with the Vapuhu, the body of the central one inside. When this is over, we will conclude with one rendition of Aditya Hrudayam and then allow that to stay in our hearts. So the first portion of the Mandalam, spreading several thousands and thousands of yojanas far in the sky, that far away, the very first set of beings that are around this Mandalam, they're dotting the Mandalam, are the personifications of Vedas. Three kinds of beings are there: Ruk, Yajus and Samas. These are entirely in white, Shubhravastro. In their Shubhravastrams, they stand and they read Veda mantras. They read it every second in the universe. We cannot hear. But when you do Dhyanam, you can. They're all chanting. Alongside them, circles and circles, concentric circles of rishis are standing and reading those very Veda mantras addressed to Surya, addressed to Parabrahma. One more circle inside is a host of Gandharvas singing Suryanamas, playing various instruments: Veenas, Mridangams, Venu, Vadyam, Talam, Ityadi. All of these beings are singing in such joy for that Mandala Purusha, for the one who is inside, in the center. And on each person's face, there is a smile as they sing. On each of the rishis' face, as they chant, there is a sense of joy. There is Amshuman sitting on either side of their smiling lips. For each being, there is a massive connection to the Mandala Purusha because they are feeling that Surya inside them. As you go closer and closer in the circles, you will see that there are Vidyadharas, Kinnaras, Kimpurushas, Siddhas, Yakshas, Rakshasas, Devatas, all circle by circle as we go closer to the center. Beings that you may or may not recognize, but they all have their role to play in doing stuti to the Parabrahma in the center. Then fix your gaze onto 7 massive horses. In green color, if you look at them as the source of photosynthesis. in 7 colors if you look at them as the source of light, as 7 notes if you hear them as the source of sound, as Sapta Chandas if you hear them as the source of Veda, as Sapta Lokas if you see them as different realms. Those horses are also at peace with themselves, and they are moving second by second, galloping at a speed that is so fast, yet they are so comfortable. Around those horses are rishis known as the Valakhilyas, who are offering Surya Arghyam every second, constantly. When that Arghyam is being offered to Surya, they are all chanting the Gayatri Mantra addressed to him. Those horses, meanwhile, are being held firmly by a charioteer whose name is Aruna. And Aruna is holding the reins on those Saptashvas so firmly. Behind Aruna, in a massive chariot, this chariot has 4 visible entrances on the east, on the south, on the west, and on the north. And each of those golden entrances is towering. Each entrance door is kilometers. Each entrance door has the Navaratnas and has Devatas standing around it. On the eastern direction, there is Kartikeya and Shiva standing at the doors. In the southern gates is Yama and Chitragupta. On the western gate is Varuna and Sagara. On the northern gate is Kubera and Vinayaka. And once one sees within this chariot where all these devatas are standing, one sees a central beam of light, massive. But we see what's around that light before we go to that light itself. Around that central beam of light, we see to its left Indra standing with a danda and the Vajrayudha. Agni standing to the right, glowing and known as Pingala. We see to the left of Indra one Ashwini Kumara, one horse-faced being, and to the right of Agni on the other side, another Ashwini Kumara, another horse-faced being. With all these beings surrounding him, each of them powerful, radiant, yet peaceful, the Mandala Purusha, the Mandalantargata Purusha, the central beam of light within, is glowing. Observe what you see there, and this is your personal observation. Whose feet do you see? Whose legs do you see? Whose thighs? Whose vastram? Observe the kati, the waist of that being. Observe the nabhi, the navel. Observe the vakshasthalam, the upper body, the being that you are seeing. Bow down to them. If you see them as masculine or feminine forms of the divine, observe their hands. It is your Ishtadevata that is appearing in the mandalam. Observe how many hands they have. Observe how the hands are glowing, holding ayudhas, padmas, or anything else that they may be holding. Bow down to those very ayudhas, to whatever they are holding in their hands, because what they are holding in their hands is for your welfare. Observe the shoulders on which those hands are kept and placed. Observe the neck, the sturdy neck, which keeps all of this torso positioned well. Observe the face, the eyes, which are radiating with love and life, the nose, which is inhaling life into your heart right now. Observe the smile, the gentle smile on that being's face. Observe the ears, the soft ears. Observe the hair and where it is moving towards. Observe the kirita, the crown of this being. Observe the light that comes from them, that is radiating from them, and observe the sound, the nadam that is coming from them, that is radiating from every pore of their being along with the light. Observe them in complete. Do a namaskaram to that form, to Indra, to Agni, to the Ashwini Kumaras, to the Dwarapalakas of the 4 gates, to Anura, to the Sapta Ashwas, to the Eka Chakra, to the Mandala with the Rishis, the Gandharvas, the Yakshas, the Kinnaras, the Kimpurushas, the Rakshasas, and all the other Divyajatis that you saw. And ask for that shrine, that entire chariot shrine, that mandiram, that Ratha Mandiram, to be stationed in your heart. Whenever you feel complete, you can remain with your eyes closed as we begin Aditya Hrudayam chanting that is being addressed to that being. Invite you to resist the urge to open your eyes. Just remain with it, with the Mandala Purusha or the Mandala Stri, whoever is appearing to you, and let this Aditya Hrudayam be dedicated to them.
Gurumeva bhaje, Gurunaiva sahasmi namo gurave, na guro paramam shishurasmi guroho, matirasti gurau mama pahi guro, tato yuddha parishrantam, samare chintaya sthitam, ravanam jagrato drishtva, yuddhaya samupasthitam, दैवतैश्च समागम्य द्रष्टुमभ्यागतोरणम् उपागम्याब्रवीद्रामम् अगस्त्यो भगवान् ऋषिः राम राम महाबाहो शृणु गुह्यम् सनातनम् येन सर्वा नरीवत्स समरे विजयिष्यसि आदित्यहृदयम् पुण्यम् सर्वशत्रुविनाशनम् जयावहं जपे नित्यम् अक्षय्यम् परमम् शिवम् सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्यम् सर्वपापप्रणाशनम् चिन्ताशोकप्रशमनम् आयुर्वर्धनमुत्तमम् रश्मिमन्तम् समुद्यन्तम् देवासुरनमस्कृतम् पूजयस्व विवस्वन्तम् भास्करम् भुवनेश्वरम् सर्वदेवात्मको ह्येषः तेजस्वी रश्मिभावनः एष देवासुरगणान् लोकान् पाति गभस्तिभिः एष ब्रह्मा च विष्णुश्च शिवस्कन्दः प्रजापतिः महेन्द्रो धनदः कालो यमः सोमो ह्यपाम्पतिः पितरो वसवः साध्या ह्यश्विनौ मरुतो मनुः वायुर्वह्निः प्रजाप्राणः ऋतुदत्ता प्रभाकरः आदित्यः सविता सूर्यः खगः पूषा गभस्तिमान् सुवर्णसदृशो भानुः स्वर्णरेता दिवाकरः हरिदश्वः सहस्रार्चिः सप्तसप्तिर्मरीचिमान् तिमिरोन्मथनः शम्भुः त्वष्टामार्ताण्ड अंशुमान् हिरण्यगर्भः शिशिरः तपनो भास्करो रविः अग्निगर्भोदितेः पुत्रः शङ्खः शिशिरनाशनः व्योमनाथस्तमो भेदी ऋग्यजुस्सामपारकः घनवृष्टिरपामित्रो विन्ध्यवीथीप्लवङ्गमः आतपीमण्डली मृत्युः पिङ्गलः सर्वतापनः कविर्विश्वो महातेजः रक्तः सर्वभवोद्भवः नक्षत्रग्रहताराणाम् अधिपो विश्वभावनः तेजसामपि तेजस्वी द्वादशात्मन्नमोऽस्तु ते नमः पूर्वाय गिरये पश्चिमायाद्रये नमः ज्योतिर्गणानाम् पतये दिनाधिपतये नमः जयाय जयभद्राय हर्यश्वाय नमो नमः नमो नमः सहस्रांशो आदित्याय नमो नमः नम उग्राय वीराय सारंगाय नमो नमः नमः पद्मप्रबोधाय मार्ताण्डाय नमो नमः ब्रह्मेशानाच्युतेशाय सूर्यायादित्यवर्चसे भास्वते सर्वभक्षाय रौद्राय वपुषे नमः तमोघ्नाय हिमघ्नाय शत्रुघ्नायामितात्मने कृतघ्नघ्नाय देवाय ज्योतिषाम् पतये नमः तप्तचामीकराभाय वह्नये विश्वकर्मणे नमस्तमोभिनिघ्नाय रुचये लोकसाक्षिणे नाशयत्येष वैभूतम् तदेव सृजति प्रभुः पायत्येष तपत्येष वर्षत्येष गभस्तिभिः एष सुप्तेषु जागर्ति भूतेषु परिनिष्ठितः एष एवाग्निहोत्रम् च फलम् चैवाग्निहोत्रिणाम् वेदाश्चक्रतवश्चैव क्रतूनाम् फलमेव च यानि कृत्यानि लोकेषु सर्व एष न विप्रभुः येन मापत्सु पृच्छ्रेषु कान्तारेषु भयेषु च कीर्तयन् पुरुषः कश्चित् नावसीदति राघव पूजयस्वैनमेकाग्रो देवदेवम् जगत्पतिम् एतत्त्रिगुणितम् जप्त्वा युद्धेषु विजयिष्यसि अस्मिन् क्षणे महाबाहो रावणम् त्वम् वधिष्यसि एवमुक्त्वा तथागस्त्यो जगाम च यथागतम् एतत् श्रुत्वा महातेज नष्टशोको भवत्तदा धारयामास सुप्रीतो राघवः प्रयतात्मवान् आदित्यम् प्रेष्य तत्पातु परम् हर्षमवाप्तवान् त्रिराचम्य शुचिर्भूत्वा धनुरादाय वीर्यवान् रावणम् प्रेष्य हृष्टात्मा युद्धाय समुपागमत् सर्वयत्नेन महता वधे तस्य धृतोऽभवत् अथरविरवदन्निरीक्ष्य रामम् मुनिगणना परमम् प्रहृष्यमाणः निशिचरपति संशयम् विदित्वा सुरगणमध्यगतो वचस्त्वरेति इत्यार्षे श्रीमद् रामायणे वाल्मीकीये आदिकाव्ये चतुर्विंशतिसहस्रिकायाम् संहितायाम् युद्धकाण्डे आदित्यहृदयम् नाम सप्तोत्तरशततमः सर्गः।
With that, we leave you with the bhavam of the mandala antargata tattvam that you saw is for you and you alone. So keep whatever you saw and go back to it, because this dhyanam has been facilitated by so many people chanting for you and enabling your dhyanam. For it to happen consistently, use columns such as Sandhya, and more than textbook explorations, remember to stay true to your internal exploration. Samba did exactly this, and to wind up the story which we began, to close the loop on that, Samba was guided to set up a Surya Kshetram, not to set up a Kshetram, but to go. Samba received that instruction. In one version, he goes to Kona Arka, Konark. In another version, he goes to Mitravana. Mitravana is in Multan, which is now no longer a part of India, but it is a Surya Kshetram, and he did his Surya Aradhana there. Find your own Surya Kshetra, it can be your own terrace, and connect to him there, and that's where the magic happens. Surya appeared to Samba, and he was cured of his leprosy. And whatever mental afflictions we also have been or are going through, Surya will take care of that. That is my sincere hope. With that, I just want to say thank you to all of you. I know that today has been longer than yesterday, but I trust that you received it with the intention with which it was given. It was not intended to be extending, but the subject matter deserved it. Surya deserved it, and he commanded it. So I just followed that instruction. But thank you for joining, and there was not a single pair of eyes that were open during the entire Dhyanam exercise. So thank you for trusting the speaker with that, and thank you for letting the Aditya Hrudayam flow into you through the chanting, through the Upanyasam, and for making this Aditya Upasana and not an Upanyasam. It has been 2 phenomenal days that I was very daunted to take up because I felt I do not possess the scholarliness to take up a subject like this. So I approached it only from Preeti Bhavam, and for whatever mistakes on my part that have occurred, I ask for forgiveness. But these 2 days have not been easy for the organizers to put together, and I know that, but Swabha has really supported Bhagavat Katha, Bhagavat or Bhagavata Sangam, and that Satsangam is special because when we come together and we sit with something for long enough, the seeds of sadhana get sprouted there. For others, they germinate there. For others, they get watered there. All of this has been facilitated tirelessly by this team of Savitaka, Swarnaka, Neelanna, Pavananna, and so many others who have done such a wonderful job of putting this together. So deepest gratitude to them.